We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. If I can ask Village Clerk Schmidtke to take attendance, roll call.
Trustee Brown.
Here.
Trustee Christmeyer. Here. Trustee Nico. Here. Trustee O'Connor. Here. Trustee O'Reilly. Here. Trustee Canucci. In the bathroom.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and, the meeting's called to order, and we're going to go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Which one? I can't hear you.
Clock's about to fall off.
Oh, my name's not on it?
No, he's
It's about to fall off.
Oh, it's about to fall off. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome, second hybrid meeting, and we're muddling along here. The first items on the agenda were the Homeowners Association visitors. I don't see Rob's seats here from Eastgate. Rob, you're not here, are you? Nor do I see Denise Keene from, or Dennis, I'm sorry, Dennis? Yep. From Stockbridge Farms.
Yep.
No? Well, you're at Stockbridge Farms. Any comments?
No?
No complaint?
No?
All right, well then we're going to move right on. The next item is public comment. Anyone here have any public comment? Okay, we'll keep ourselves moving. The next item on the agenda is the public safety reports. I don't see, we usually have Sergeant Ryan Amber here. I don't see him here on the virtual meeting, so I guess we're going to keep moving along. No one from the fire department here either, right? All right, well, we're going to keep moving. The next item on the agenda is to recognize Lynn Michelson-Cohn for 25 years of service on the Long Grove Architectural Commission. So it gives me, great pleasure. This is one of the things that as village president you're able to do, is to recognize those who have spent and dedicated countless hours to serving the village of Long Grove. And in the case of Lynn, it's 25 years of service. That's amazing. And I just met your daughter, and I put in here, because I said when I spoke with you, if I recall correctly, your daughter in one of the first meetings was in an infant carrier sitting right back here, right? And there she is, all grown up, 25 years old back there, right? And so that's pretty amazing. And, when you look back on 25 years, right, so much has happened, and you had such a great impact on shaping and preserving Long Grove. When you think of just, if we look at some of the businesses, right, Sunset, Grove, Menards, Long Grove Commons, you've touched all these projects, right? All these facilities, developments, have this Long Grove look to it, right? That, whatever that is when you're in Long Grove. And, in addition to that, you're an architect. You're known for your attention to detail. Always have this eye for aesthetics, the downtown signage, a lot of the reason why it looks the way it is, and even the signage in Primrose, I'm told, has a lot to do with your influence, right? You're also known for working with developers and, having some tough conversations with them, but always working with them, right? And to try to improve their proposals. All of this was for the betterment of Long Grove. We are so unique in Long Grove with our limited government. We cannot be successful without people like you. And we need dedicated volunteers. We were just rated this niche publication as the second best place to live in Illinois, and then the best place to buy a house in Illinois. And I have to think that, everyone plays a part in that, but and there's many reasons, but I have to think that some of the aesthetical aspects of our homes and the way they look has something to do with that. And the commission, the Architectural Commission under your leadership, played a role in that. So, on behalf of Long Grove, we want to recognize you and also the village board and staff, both present and past, and thank you for your service to the village. Now, there is a resolution that I'd like to read out loud too, if I may, and then I would ask for a motion to approve this. But Lynn Michelson Cohn has served as a member of the Architectural Commission of the Village of Long Grove for 25 years. It was July of 1997, and served as the Architectural Commission for 12 of those years, December of 2008. And whereas the Architectural Commission is charged with responsibilities of reviewing and building requests, including signage, with emphasis on aesthetics and harmony with the village, and whereas in her service to the village, to the Architectural Commission, Lynn Michelson Cohn has demonstrated great knowledge and devotion to the responsibilities of the Architectural Commission. Lynn found creative solutions to difficult problems, was polite and courteous to petitioners, and collegial with other commissioners. Lynn always had excellent attention to detail, a positive approach, and the best interest of the community in mind. Lynn's leadership provided a framework for thoughtful and consistent recommendations to the village board, which steadily improved the aesthetics, structures, or signage while maintaining the character of Long Grove. Thus, the president and the board of trustees of the Village of Long Grove hereby recognize her contributions to the betterment of Long Grove. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the president and board of trustees of the Village of Long Grove, County of Lake County, Illinois, as follows. Section 1, the foregoing recitals are hereby made as part of this resolution. Section 2, recognition of service. On behalf of the village, its residents, and those who visit and enjoy Long Grove, the village board hereby recognizes the long-term service and devotion that Lynn Michelson Cohn has conferred upon the village and its residents, and does honor and thank her for significant contributions to establishing and maintaining the special character of Long Grove. This resolution shall be in full force and effective from after its passage, and approval and publication is required by law. I would look for a motion. Moved by Trustee O'Connor, seconded by Trustee Michaud. Roll call.
Trustee O'Connor. Aye. Trustee Michaud. Aye. Trustee Borowski. Aye. Trustee Christmeyer. Aye. O'Reilly. Aye. And Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Motion carried. Congratulations. We have a little, comfortable or not, if somebody can take a picture, but can we present you with a little bit?
Yeah.
Can I get you to come up here? Now, I cannot take, it's just right here. I cannot take credit for picking out this gift. We have a very thoughtful village clerk, Sherry Schlagman, but she, I picked out what I think to be a fabulous, beautiful gift.
Frank
It's
Lloyd Wright. Oh, how beautiful.
stained glass, so,
Just beautiful.
yes. Congratulations. Thank you, thanks for your service, appreciate it.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Oh, yes, and we have, this has already been signed, and it's a copy you can frame or what have you, and we were gonna leave you with this nice gift. And we should probably put it back in the box properly, right, so that it doesn't break, and I better not drop it, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble.
May I just say a quick word?
Sure, you may, thank you. I wasn't gonna put you up for a speech. to go
No,
for
it is going to be a speech or a recap. I just want to say it's been an absolute privilege to serve this beautiful and unique community, and it's been an absolute privilege to preserve and protect that beauty and that uniqueness through my work on the Architectural Commission. So thank you so much for this great honor.
All right, moving right along, where's my agenda? Okay, so I don't know if we have an update there. The next item on the agenda is the village planner's report. Do we have an update? No. Okay, then we have Two items here that are similar, right? This is consideration of approval of a resolution for the Midwest Capital's request for a waiver of connection to the Long Grove water supply for the well on Mill Pond, and then the other one is for Fountain Square. They've applied for this, and I guess I'll open it up to discussion.
Can I just add something?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
I have provided and we've received some information late yesterday, so, item 8B in your packets, further talks about the wells that may have been decommissioned, and not decommissioned. I reached out to Lake County and worked in collaboration with their, Department of Environmental Health to kind of get some more concrete information. I know that was a concern of the board on what wells may potentially not be decommissioned. The ones that are highlighted in that attachment are the ones that are subject to this evening's resolutions for consideration. The other ones require further investigation. Two of those we had put to the side. We've already determined the status of those wells. But when you put the numbers together, we were at somewhere around 43, 45% in concern of not being decommissioned. We're now at 22%, still requiring some additional verification. So I wanted to make sure, because the board asked that question 2 weeks ago in the last board meeting, and I wanted to make sure that I shared that with the board. And as this investigation into the other decommissioning continues, I'll keep the board apprised.
But did I understand correctly, 78%, at least 78% have been decommissioned, and it could be more?
78% have been decommissioned, and it could be more. That's correct.
Okay.
Again, the ones that are highlighted in that package are the ones that are subject to the resolutions before the board this evening.
I would just like to mention on Mill Pond that the water is now running and the wheel is working. And already because my office is right there, already I'm seeing people who come by, stand in front of it and have to have a photo of it running. And so it will be another tourist attraction is the sock monkey.
So there are 7 addresses highlighted. There are 5 addresses in the resolution.
I went by the PIN numbers in the resolution. Because you have one PIN number covering multiple addresses.
2 addresses, you mean the same address? Got it. Yeah, 18 has got 3 addresses. So it's a total of 5 physical buildings or properties, whatever. And how much grass or how many flowers? Some of these, if I'm picturing the correct buildings, don't have anything to water.
That's correct. There would be one, as I noted into the 8B attachment, that would be a potential exception if an inquiry was made, but the rest of them would not be on the scale of what we're talking about with the approval of these resolutions. So you're correct.
Is this 7 well?
That I cannot tell you. What I can tell you is because the decommissioning was done by PIN number, I can't tell you it's multiple wells, 7 wells, 4 wells. I would tend to say that, well, I don't want to make a statement that I'm not confident.
So, Vic's got his hand.
Oh, Vic, go ahead. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, the fact is we don't know precisely right now. One of the things that both of these resolutions provide for is that the applicants have to give us the information of what wells exist and which ones are going to be serving the irrigation purposes or fountain purposes that are authorized. So if in fact those properties, and again, we need them to give us an atlas of what wells exist. If they're only using 2 wells and there might be 4 on the property, they're going to have to cap the other 2. We don't have all of that information, but it's a prerequisite of the ultimate relief that they provided.
Part of the ordinance.
Part of the ordinance, yeah.
Can you get that information?
Can we, Rita asked, can we get the information?
It's part and parcel.
It's incorporated into each of these resolutions. So you're giving an approval tonight, but it's conditioned on getting that information and it being reviewed satisfactorily by the village engineer. So it's Jeff's problem.
What's that?
No, we haven't, no one's approved it yet, so if we do approve it, that's what we'd be doing.
I see.
Yeah.
You would be not enforceable or no release until all of that
Right.
documentation has been.
Is it difficult to get that information?
They're gonna have to pull it and present it.
Yeah,
So it's on them.
Is it possible? to get
Exactly.
that?
Oh, we would have to have it beforehand. Oh, you mean before you make a vote?
That's what you just did for the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, and to determine the number, correct, but to determine the number of wells, what we would do is, if it's approved, and they didn't come back with the adequate information or incorrect information, the resolution wouldn't hold. Am I right, Vic?
That's correct. They have, I believe, 60 days under the resolutions to deliver all that information.
Otherwise, it's null and void.
Right.
Other comments,
Question,
please?
do we know what the loss in revenue projection is for somebody irrigating and filling the mill pond versus what that would cost if they're backing off the municipal supply? You know how much water usage
My
that is?
sense, zero. The reason I say that is because you don't have to make them water the flowers.
I understand that, but assuming that they're watering it as it is part of being the owner of the property, doing their due diligence, trying to beautify it, do we have any estimate for like how much water we're actually talking about?
We have to quantify it based on seasonal histories. I mean, there's just a number of variables in there. Jeff, you'd be better to tell us with.
Yeah, I could run the number. I don't think it's gonna be a very high number. I'd say, 5,000 order of magnitude,
$5,000?
dollars per all, or,
Oh,
for
dollars. How about like gallons, like?
yeah, I'd run the numbers on that.
So you think that your estimate would be what, $5,000 revenue, or that's what it would cost the property owners to actually draw our water
That
versus
would
the
be
well?
correct.
Thank you.
Our overall revenue for the overall business is like 110. 200.
Oh, we've got it in the budget, yeah,
That's in the budget. I'm just trying to size.
yeah. I think that, the thing that's been made perfectly clear to me was that, if we don't do what we did last year,
They're not turning the fountain on.
they're not turning the fountain on, they're not gonna water the flowers, right?
There's no less revenue.
Yeah, so that's been made perfectly clear.
150,
150, okay.
So,
115.
it's a unique situation.
Yeah.
So here's a thought. Is it possible that the wells on these properties could have the pipes leading, the potable water pipes from the well to the building could be capped, so that the wells can be used for, well, coming from the well, it's gonna be potable, but it could be used from the well, and that's the only thing that could be.
I think they're already set up that way.
They have
That's,
They have to be
It's a
that
cross,
way.
it's a crossing, you
Right,
they
yeah.
have to.
Jeff, yeah, please pipe in. Yeah, Vic, or whoever wants to.
Both under the resolutions as well as under Illinois law would preclude having that type of cross connection. We specifically require a licensed plumber to certify that there is no connection between the well and any habitable building. That's in our resolutions that's before you tonight. Illinois law has further regulations against cross connections between public water systems and private water systems. So we have that covered doubly, but for them to get the relief, they have to give us a certification from a licensed plumber that that's already been dismantled or disconnected.
So all they wanted, just let me repeat it the way I heard it, because I'm not sure I heard it correctly. You're saying that what I just suggested is what is required in the resolution?
Correct.
Okay, so they're just asking for for well water only for the purpose of irrigation.
Correct.
On the buildings that have something to irrigate. I mean, they're asking for all the buildings, but I would suspicion we're thinking the ones that are irrigable.
Well, can I say it a different
There's
way
a-
too, Vic? 'Cause- yeah, go ahead. I mean, what it was to irrigate Fountain Square primarily.
Right.
And Mill
I
Pond,
think,
right? So how they do that, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Now we've got.
I think the ambiguity that we have currently is simply that although they are separate tax parcels and there are buildings that might be associated with one or the other, the green spaces that are to be irrigated are a little more communal as far as their functionality goes. So there may not be exact alignment between how the ordinance or the resolution before you addresses them and what will actually be the outcome, which is why we had these prerequisites for the atlas and the demonstration of disconnection of the habitable buildings as preconditions for the actual authorization.
So Vic, the two questions that trustee O'Connor are asking, and just so I'm clear too, is number one, they need to give us the location of their wells, the atlas, and once that's done, that part of the resolution's been met. It requires 60 days for, there's a 60-day window for that to happen. The second piece is certification from a plumber, the separation between potable into the building and irrigation water to the outside.
Right, and both of those have to occur within that 60-day window.
So the water that's coming from the aquifer basically is going back into the earth. Some of it's evaporating, but for practical purposes, it's not like anything is being depleted.
You're not putting any in a glass.
Exactly, but
And we're getting.
environmentally, you know, it's either here or there.
Growing flowers, and honestly, if they don't do something, if that fountain doesn't run for a couple of years, it's trash.
Understand. You know, that we're not allowed really to use of it, but people do.
It gets used all the time.
What I'm saying,
Around.
I'm finished. However, the owners have allowed people to use the property. They haven't put up no trespassing signs or walled it off or anything like that, so, okay.
Well, and
my questions are answered.
Yeah, and the other thing is we do reserve the right to rescind this if they don't honor
Sure.
putting flowers in.
Fence around,
Yeah.
around it. We'd probably say, no, you can't do that.
My question.
But I will tell you that around Mill Pond, there are benches and tables, and people walk over there. I even have a big bench in front of my window, and people sit there and enjoy what's sitting there. And so I'm sure that goes on at the fountain.
I've seen it too, I agree.
Does anyone want to be brave and make a motion
I
to
would make
approve
a
this?
motion to grant the water system connection waiver.
And can we do it for both at the same time, Vic?
We can if you choose.
For Mill Pond and
For Mill Pond and for Fountain Square.
Fountain Square? Is there a second?
Are we saying those are the only two?
Yes. Okay, it was moved by trustee O'Reilly, seconded by trustee Kritzmeyer. If you would be so kind to take a roll call.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Christopher. Aye. Trustee Brodsky.
No.
Trustee Micho.
No.
Trustee O'Connor.
Go to Ken.
So I'll just say, in the last meeting, I was opposed to this. I did receive additional information, the number of wells that are capped versus not capped, and thought about it further, and I think for the greater good, my vote is yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was that, I'm sorry? All right, motion
I'm torn.
motion carried, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rita. All right, moving right along, the next item on the agenda is the village engineer's report, as if you haven't spoken enough tonight.
stopwatch in.
You got 30 seconds? No.
All
All right, I'll be brief.
It's paid by the word. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll be brief because I'm going to talk on the next two issues, I'm sure. So, the engineer's report in the board package, just a few things I'll highlight. Stemple parking lot substantially complete, still working with the contractor to get back on the site to do the work with the inspect. But I do want to highlight that the state of Illinois has issued the grant reimbursement check to the village for $200,000. So that came in either last week or the week before.
Last week.
Yes, sir.
What is the ETA of completion? Because
We're doing that right now. We're working on a checklist for the punch. We looked at I was over there looking at the blue, parking, markers and, yeah, so.
As I came over here today, there's a part of, Brothers Field in between that and Chatterbox. There's a whole section where there's not supposed to be any parking. There's a row of cars there, making it very hard for cars to get in and out. The fact that it doesn't say two-way signs either way for going in by the bridge or by, Brothers Field is another issue. I actually waited, and took care of the signage problem myself for the handicap sign for my place. Because the other handicap signs have not been taken care of where it's marked as an open lot for someone to park in, but there's still a handicap sign there. While down the way, it's not marked as a handicap spot, but has a handicap markers on it. It's very confusing to people. So the sooner we get this taken care of, we got festivals coming very soon.
Jeff knows I've had some strong conversations about getting this done, so we're working towards it.
Is there also gonna be any edging maybe put in around where they put everything new in, or is it just gonna be that drop off at the end of the parking lot?
They mean where they put it in.
So, when you get to the edge of the parking lot where they piled up all the snow and everything down at the end,
Sure.
it's kind of just a drop off down there. And if we don't actually reinforce that and put anything in there, our parking lot, while it's beautiful right now, every year it's gonna recede by about a foot as things continue.
We'll take
Yeah, so it's got to be a containing edge. Yep.
Okay. There's nothing in there now, and if someone's walking over there, they walk off a cliff right there.
But if you're coming around Chatterbox and you're eastbound, driving toward Old McHenry.
Well, I think that's what Mike was just talking about.
Yeah, there's supposed to be two-way there, and right now it's striped as one way.
And the people are parking near the trash.
Are you talking the other side?
Chatterbox.
Between Chatterbox and the Old Seasons?
North side, yes, north side of Chatterbox.
Yeah, that's one way out, and there's no parking stalls striped in there, and it's not designated as a loading zone either, but we have both, so that would be an enforcement issue.
I've never driven through there where there isn't something.
Me too. And cars parked there.
Pardon? Yeah, the owner has the easement there too, so, fun one.
Is well, an easement is one thing, but it doesn't.
They actually own the property too, yeah.
But if it's, when you come around there, you can't see that those cars are there.
Right.
It's a hazard.
It's a hazard.
It should at least say no parking, or something. Then you got the trash containers where we can't walk, God forbid we walk any further than we had to, but they're parked cheek by jowl all along that enclosure. Now it's like, what the heck? And you got 30, 40 spaces, 6 feet away.
Well, normally they have their employees park there, and it's more of a safety issue. Employees that are working there, most of them are women, they're working late at night. To have them go out and be able to get right in their cars versus crossing the dark parking lot. And the parking lot, even though things have been changed, it's still very dark at night. If you go over there at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, I would not want my staff members having to cross that either.
But this is during the day.
Right, but most of the workers that come in are.
I see, they're there all day.
8 to 12 hours a day.
I think 3 to 11. I'm wondering, is there a time element that's in the contract for this?
So, the bid documents had them actually completing the project before they even started because we intentionally delayed them to get it starting. So,
It's followed that.
according to the contract in the bid documents, their completion date was before they actually started, because we, had them start,
We
we
didn't
delayed.
revise it in any way?
Correct. So, we worked
So we
with
had no
the,
leverage?
I'm not gonna say that, because the village still has 10% retainage on these guys, which is over, it's like $50,000, so that's leverage. Now, one of the reasons that the contractor hasn't been out there is they wanna do all of the work in spec. They've still gotta put asphalt in there for the two-lane, access on Historical Lane. Asphalt plants haven't opened. The pavement striping, one of the reasons the blue striping is all the way at the end of the, parking lot now is it didn't adhere correctly because they tried to do it out of spec. So,
What does
Do
that mean?
they have a clear list
yes, they do.
of what needs
Yep.
to be done, and do we have an ETA when?
That's exactly what Trustee O'Reilly, that's exactly what I asked Jeff to do, was to nail down the time and actually get this,
Yeah.
to put the pieces in the budget.
Yeah, let's not be talking about this in July.
And is time zero when the asphalt plant's open, or is that a known date also?
It's usually right around April 15th, but, it's probably gonna be next week that they start opening up.
So is that time zero?
That's the way I'm going to approach it with them.
Okay.
Close enough.
Jeff, what does inspect mean?
So, like paving striping, that was one of the last items that
Too cold.
we tried to do. It was too cold for it to properly adhere. It's gotta be 50 degrees, yeah.
Will they redo what's left of the handicap one in front of our place?
All of it that didn't adhere, the blue was the big one that I highlighted, but yeah, every other one, yeah,
We got
Same
half
thing.
a wheelchair, so.
same thing. Yep, yep.
Just dealing with this vendor. Future reference.
All right, so you're on it, hopefully gets cleared up shortly, right?
Yep.
When's Chocolate Fest?
Bigger one.
24, 26.
Oh, the Craft Beer Fest, yeah, April 30th.
April 30th, and maybe, whatever that.
Well, I'm sure it's
one
not,
after Mother's Day.
I'm sure it's not gonna happen by April 30th,
Vendor.
right, Jeff?
It's
It's not gonna happen by April 30th.
No, but I'll lean on them and we'll figure out a way to at least get the handicap signs in.
We're expecting 600 to 800 people in that parking lot.
I just want to be sure that the list is complete, that what Mike is talking about, what Rita's talking about, we all know what it is, and it's written down, and everybody knows what it is.
Otherwise, it's a beautiful parking lot, so. Last little bit to get it over there.
It's a lot better than it was.
That was a low bar. That was a really low bar.
Yep.
Okay, the Robert Parker Coffin passed. That contractor actually confirmed today that he's gonna be on site, at the end of the week to take care of the punch list and wrap everything up. Traffic calming, the road program, those are the next items.
One
Yes.
question about the path. Was it the intention of having this drop along the road? It seems like we created such a hazard. I suspect it's drainage, a
So that-
drainage
yeah.
point, but boy, it's a big drop.
And that's on their punch list to do to, address that, because there's some things that they did incorrectly, there's some things that have settled over the winter. Make that, worse than it is. Yep.
But I will say though, people are using that path.
What, 10 a day?
No, I mean, over the weekend, there was people walking their dogs, people coming to the downtown using the crosswalk.
Bobby, if you're in town on 7:30.
What'd you say?
There are a ton of people walking up and down that path.
Well, see, we, in northern Longgrove, we don't have any paths, so we don't walk. Because we also don't have slow roads either.
I guess for.
Well, I don't know, I pretty much run along those roads, but anyways.
Not my road, you know.
I'm waiting for when the weather gets nicer, I'm gonna try to walk to one of these meetings again.
Yep.
Hopefully I'll make it.
good luck. But anyways, no, I mean, I did see a lot of people just walking dogs, coming down, using the crosswalk. It's neat to see, so. Keep going.
Okay,
What, sorry?
Need to actually see them out of the road.
Oh, out of the road, yeah, good point. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, correct, yeah.
number 6 on the report, this is the Lake County Public Works project for the force main replacement. They're replacing the sanitary force main from the Three Lakes lift station, which is at the culvert crossing, where the 2 lakes, drain from one side to the other. They're replacing the sanitary force main from there along Robert Parker Coffin Road and then into the Archer parking lot. About a year ago this time, the board approved an easement for the county to, connect that into the Archer parking lot. We had initially had heard that they were going to start in March. Material shortages have delayed that to the Tuesday after Memorial Day. So that's right after Chocolate Fest, because that's the 24th through the 26th. We are working and discussing with the county how the path will look to make sure that it's in a safe condition and hopefully done by Strawberry Fest at the end of June. The Lake County Division of Transportation project, the street light at Old McHenry and Robert Parker Coffin Road, the lamp at the west corner did come in with the pole, but they did not get all the hardware, is what I was told. So they have gotten that, and they are scheduling the installation of that. I haven't got the date of that. I did not get a response from them here in the last 2 weeks on the additional no right turn on red signs that we discussed at the last board meeting. I'm hopeful that they can take care of both of those at the same time. Greg, you can jump in here. Number 8, I didn't know if you wanted to highlight or talk about the community project funding opportunity.
Yeah, we had an opportunity presented to us by Congressman Caston's office and Congressman Schneider's office for some shovel-ready projects that they would be able to present to the House Appropriations Committee for approval. Congressman Schneider has 15 projects, as does Congressman Caston. I've had a long and positive working relationship with the staff, including the Deputy Chief of Staff from Congressman Schneider's office, so he was gracious enough to give myself and Denise some set-aside time to talk about our approach on the Lake Michigan water that we were looking for a way to fund. This is all infrastructure. It has to meet some pretty strict requirements. We were able to put together Denise, Natalie, Jeff, it was a team effort, put together the grant application. It will be submitted tomorrow. I'm going to hand deliver it to the Congressman's office so I can make a case, but we're also looking at Old McHenry Road, some dollars there for a project that, and we use projects that were already there that we didn't do any additional engineering studies, and part of that was attributed to the fact that we had 8 days to have everything pulled together and submitted. And fortunately, we were able to do that, so we'll see where this goes. I'm positive that in anything I've ever done with grants, there's no guarantee on the grant, but my position has always been it's my job to get as much visibility as possible so it gets a reasonable look. And it's my hope that we're going to be able to do this, my strong hope we're going to be able to do this with what's being submitted to the Congressman tomorrow. But again, Jeff and Natalie and Denise helped put together some good work on this. So
I assume from your wording, there's nothing in north of 22.
No, and that's exactly right. That's exactly right. The reason it isn't is because there was nothing sitting there that I could turn around and take and just go ahead and run with. So it would behoove us to turn around and, as we look at this pathway plan going forward, is to turn around and get what we would call a shovel-ready project, so that if we get called for it, we can pull it and get it to use. I was up by you, and I was up on Osage on Monday with Jeff, looking at some things up there, and there's some needs up there for pathway connectivity. There's no doubt about it.
Well, there's not a connective problem. There's a path.
Well, yeah,
We have nothing to
You gotta have a
connect.
path to connect to.
Right.
And what was interesting about this, grant is that when we looked at past grant history, they were as high as $20 and $30 million grants that were being awarded to other communities. So,
That is helpful.
so that would be a good opportunity for us. And this used to be what was called the earmarks program.
Oh, yeah.
That they got rid of. It is something they're going to continue to move forward with, so I just want to keep us on our radar, and if we're able to do something with pathways, it may be a good opportunity to do.
When we repaved Town Hall, we put in a conduit for electric charging.
Mhm.
Would that ever qualify? What would we need to do if we wanted to do that for this?
My colleagues throughout the county are looking at opportunities to turn around and use electronic vehicle charging stations, and we're trying to figure out what's the best way to secure the funding for it. I know there was some funding that was discussed with the Vernon Township.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, the Vernon Township, coalition that they put together, they're looking at trying to get some funding for that too,
I just
so.
wondered, is that the kind of infrastructure that would qualify if we were shovel-ready?
Yeah,
You know, here's an interesting thing, you can put a system in there, it'll pay for itself.
Right.
So you don't even, I mean, even if you had some capital outlay, you can charge the electricity,
It's not the money, but yeah.
you can do digital signage on it. Mike can advertise beer or something on it, and
Mhm.
we can charge them.
Well, the weird thing is, you go on I think it's Tesla's website or whatever, for charging stations. Simple Lot is one, and I get yelled at all the time because it's like,
Oh, it's on there now?
yeah, because, well, you can go there, but it's not a quick charge. You actually gotta bring your own extension cord and plug it
You
into
can
the
plug
light.
into our light bulb, into our light bulb.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Who says that?
Who said that?
Yeah, there's outlets.
There's outlets on.
But,
Oh, that's ridiculous.
but we didn't authorize that.
We have outlets.
But you know what? That gives us the opportunity to put up signage directing people to electric, EV stations.
But first we have to have the stations.
Plug is a plug, right? You know?
Oh, I disagree with
Because,
that.
you know, if you get 10 miles before you run out of juice,
On Saturdays, if you walk around the lot, I would say now probably 10% of the cars are electric.
So that outlet, is that just a standard household type outlet? With
Yeah.
normal
That's
current,
where they get all.
15 amps or whatever?
Yeah,
They come there and they think that they can have a beer and charge up, and it's like,
They're gonna have to drink enough beer to charge up that they won't be able to drive anymore.
maybe they could have lunch and dinner as well.
Oh.
So Mike prefers that, I got it.
Pleasure for charging, 1 beer, 2 beers.
And we prepared aggregation of data, we aggregated data after I mined it from our colleagues out in the other communities for something that the EDC was talking about that I worked with Trustee Rashad. So, it's something we're looking at opportunities.
I just have a question. You mentioned Congressman Schneider. I know his district is being redrawn, starting with the next Congress. Are both of these projects going to be in his district starting next year?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that won't affect us.
If he doesn't get kicked off the ballot.
Well, yeah.
Because
No, that got resolved, I thought,
he's
yeah.
concrete.
That got resolved.
Just got that seed planted, help me, trustee.
These are matching grants?
No.
No.
100%. They asked, could you match 20, so if they came back and said, we can only give you 2.7, we'd come back to the board before accepting the grant and say, are we willing to put up this additional funding if it's okay? We went into it as, we're looking for it all.
I'm a little bit disappointed because I had thought this board had previously talked about having grant-ready projects available and estimated and thought through. So I'm a little bit disappointed that the only thing we come up with is a water connection, which frankly, not everybody supports, you know?
And that's one of the things I looked for was what's ready, what's shovel-ready that we can use, yeah.
Didn't this grant program kind of fall out of the sky?
Yeah,
It did.
Yeah.
So there was, Chris, I don't know if you heard that this grant program, this particular one, just fell out of the sky. It was, nobody knew it was coming.
Yeah, I understood that. I saw the announcement from the
Okay,
office.
okay.
When they were mailed out, I saw that.
Well, and I think that's, Denise and I were talking today, that is maybe a topic for a soon-to-be, what's the word? thank you, scheduled, soon to be scheduled workshop for, one of the things is, one of my things is, can we have the top 5 projects that, you know, boom, 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 and then go about getting the bids out and so on, so we've got something.
And I would offer this, and I'm not saying it simply because, you know, we've got trustees in the village president up north, but we've got to take a better we got to take a better, look at doing things all-encompassing village-wide instead of, you know, just confining ourselves to the south end of town for things. Now, there are certain things that are conducive for the south end of town because of connectivity, because of our brand in the downtown market. But as I travel throughout the village, and, you know, I do it almost every day where I'm in some part of the village, you know, what I saw up on Osage, some of that area, I went past where the mayor lives, or the village president lives, to look at the road construction that's going on up there, and there's been some damage to the side of the road, and it's a little bit messy up there. I mean, there's just things we can't just, we're a big village, and there were people living throughout the village. We've just got to keep our eye on everything.
I'm not getting my sidewalk though either.
Areas on Midlothian Road make a really nice path.
No, it would be nice to have one up there, but I'm not gonna get a path. The path is going up Gilmer Road, it's not going down Midlothian, when you look at the design. You gotta yell at them, yeah, thank you.
So do we have an action item then, as far as putting those top 5 projects together, and by when?
That is totally up to the board on what you would identify and what we could do. I mean, it wasn't something, it was just something we talked about collateral to the discussion on the grant, but if the board wants us to take that action, we can poll each of the trustees, identify, and I would say 6 because of the 6 trustees, and identify a project they want us to look at and get something shovel ready. I think that's what you're looking for, trustees, to get something shovel ready.
Well, like a poll. You're going the same direction.
I don't know how many garbage cans I could put in. I think Rita gets 3 of the top 5 or something. My opinion, but whatever they are, it's gotta be more important than more garbage cans, right?
So my question was, do you wanna poll us individually or have
A workshop.
a workshop session?
I wrote down we're gonna have to have a workshop, but we could start with polling everyone.
I think we could absolutely
Yeah.
find really good, good things to fill workshops every quarter.
Yep.
And all due respect to people who run for office, and I say that sincerely here, is that it's a state election, federal election right now, and money will be flowing.
Right.
Especially at the state level where it seems to be a bondless checkbook, which escapes me on how that's possible, but,
I think they were surprised by the income taxes that didn't go down, and now it's like, yeah, a party.
Oh, yeah, we're in such solid financial shape.
Okay, Jeff, take us back.
Okay, let's see, jump down to number 22, 23, this is, Arboria and Harper Chase. Manager Jackson and myself separately met with both the executive directors of Arboria, which is now, the name escapes me. Perspective.
we were together when we had the meetings, just separate meetings.
Yeah, separate meetings with,
White and blue. Where's our sign paper lady? She left.
and also with Harbor Chase. The meetings went well. We talked about the outstanding issues. The landscaping was primary focus for both of them. We asked both businesses for their plans this week. So I have not seen anything, Greg, from either one of them, but we did give them the deadlines of this week. So both businesses were supportive of the village's efforts, and, you know, they wanted to clean up their properties as well.
Arboria's acquiring company, their corporate office, was well aware of what lacked and that they had to fulfill it. They knew it when they did that purchase, and they were straight on it, so.
Yep.
Go ahead. Does Harbor Chase know that this is the time for a burn?
Harbor Chase started putting some new trees out. We had told them about the appearance of the natural wild vegetation out there. I shared with them point blank that their name comes up far too often at village board meetings and that we need to turn around and remedy this rather. I couldn't have been more point blank than I was with them.
We're holding, I think, 25,000. We had 75 and we gave them 50, which in retrospect was probably a mistake. We gave it 50 and 75. We're still holding $25,000 bond.
It's a new executive director. I'm hopeful we're gonna be able to resolve it like we resolved the most recent issue at the,
I wonder if the fire department would have a class on a proper burn and use their property.
They would come here and have a proper burn.
Village hall or the
Yeah.
property.
Oh, no.
Jeff?
So just the last thing is, the Grove.
Can I have one
Sure.
question about Harbor Chase? Are we still going to hang them with this natural environment? It looks like weeds.
I would have to get some direction from the board on what you wanted to do with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'll come my way.
I think it looks like trash. It looks like trash since the beginning. It doesn't get any better. And how many more years are we gonna have people asking, why don't you cut your weeds down?
We have an expert on our board.
I'm kind of an expert too. I'm not to that level, but I ain't stupid either.
No, I was not at all saying you're stupid, I was just, I think tell me what you think, but what I heard you say, I believe, is like, it could be beautiful in that natural thing, but they've got to really invest energy, time, and
Money.
focus
Money.
and money.
Yeah. It's an entrance to the village. You know, what, are they in Buffalo Grove or are they in Long Grove? They promised.
I tell people they're in Buffalo Grove.
Well, they promised to do it. We've got 25,000, which is not a lot, and we talked
It's
about
not.
landscaping, but
Personally,
nonetheless.
I think it's unreasonable to have that kind of an environment in that kind of traffic with that kind of pollution and it not being a main focus of their job to do. It's not what retirement facilities do, is take care of natural environment. I think it was.
Well, can I ask a question? Would it be possible, and I don't know who can do this, but could somebody come back, even, we've got the services of Mundelein, come back and say, hey, if we just tweak this a little bit, maybe there's some natural there, but we changed a little bit, what would you recommend? And present a plan to the board. Is that possible? Is that hard to do?
No.
You mean like a hybrid?
Yeah, like a hybrid, so that you clean it up a little bit, you kind of keep some of the conservancy there, but you do it in a way where it just looks nicer, right?
Why would Mundelein know about that?
I don't know, I'm just trying to think of somebody's got they have the graphical tools to put a,
Yeah, we work with Tallgrass and urban forestry. I mean, there's people we can work with.
or whoever it is, I don't know, but somebody can put a graphical together of here's an idea and share it with the board.
The Park District works with Tallgrass.
Okay, there you go.
They're fabulous.
Okay.
They're fabulous.
All right.
If they would only work with them.
And then do a diagram or something that we could look at and,
Yeah, I recommend Tallgrass.
Okay.
We've actually given Harbor Chase Tallgrass's, recommendation, so we're already into a relationship with them in that project.
I bet they've called them 4 or 5 times ever since you gave it to them.
As a
but can we like,
I don't think you were sincere, trustee.
so can we keep us moving here, but can we just get like a proposal of some sort or I mean, just an idea, the concept plan that we could all look at?
As a resident with conservancy on a main thoroughfare, Diamond Lake, where would I apply for that same relief?
I don't know, right here.
I mean, seriously, I'd love to get rid of all that crap, mow it down, put grass in all the way up to Diamond Lake Road. I'm sick of cutting trees, I'm sick of piling up buckthorn, I'm just sick of it. All the invasives, the teasel's coming in now, I'm sick of chasing it. Can I just please mow it all down and put grass in? Same relief request, and I'm sure a whole bunch of people are going to do that too, because it's just crap. Sorry. It is, it's just a nightmare to maintain, it really is. And if you drive around just up and down 83, look at Royal Melbourne. That berm used to be beautiful, and it's nothing but buckthorn now, right?
Yeah.
So how are we gonna get rid of this crap? If you give Harbor Chase relief, you gotta give Royal Melbourne relief, cut it all down, put grass in, be done with it.
I agree. It was not a good plan. to do because of the amount of maintenance that's involved in it.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons why people don't buy homes in Long Grove as often as they should, because they don't want that kind of maintenance.
Sorry.
All right, that's an idea. Let's keep, you have,
I'm doing a restoration, 1 acre on Schaefer and Antietam. I use tall grass restoration. It takes 3 years to do it. It's $4,000 a year. So 1 acre is about $4,000 a year. They come out between 4 and 6 times a year. The only way to do prairie restoration is that they have to maintain it every single year, 4 to 6 times. So, and now I'm down to about $2,000 a year because I'm in my 3rd year. So that's what it's called.
I'm
And
so glad
someone got to
you're
do it.
here. I'm so glad you're here. That's good information.
thank you. All right, we're gonna keep ourselves moving.
If there's any other
Jeff?
questions, I'll say, end of report.
The report, are we good?
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, so, we had a very long discussion tonight, and we do have, an item on the agenda. It says consideration of traffic calming options. So, do we want to chat a little bit about this tonight for a few minutes?
Really?
Do you want to table it to the next meeting because of everything that's on the docket?
I haven't had time to read the comments that were sent in,
Okay,
and I'd like to do that.
okay. So we'll put this on the next meeting agenda, to be continued?
Me, I just like to table it,
Or you want to table it? Not a speed table, but table it.
table it.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, yeah,
I'll just say one quick thing. If we go toward a choker, that slows traffic down at one discrete point, doesn't help the rest of the road. And I know this board has traditionally been opposed to speed humps, but for the cost of one choker, you get 3 speed humps, put 1 speed hump at each of the 3 proposed locations, and slow traffic along the whole road. They will also inconvenience everybody throughout the whole road, which is a different issue. But if you really want to slow everybody down, for less than $25,000, that's the solution.
okay, we're gonna, put it in the agenda for the next meeting. We're not gonna table it, Chris. Thank you, thank you. All right, so consideration approval of the bid tabulations and recommendation for the,
Next election?
consideration of approval of the bid tabulations, recommendations for the 2022 road maintenance program. And we've got a resolution to award Arrow Road Construction Company for the base bid and both bid alternatives. That's what's on the agenda. You know what, you're still up.
Can you unravel what this is actually saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. So last Thursday, we get bids for the combined road program, which was Long Grove, Killdeer, and Dune Township. And I will start by saying that the bids came in, so all the market conditions and pressures that are out there, they came in very, very nice. And I say that with the backdrop, we're at the March 8th meeting, the engineer's estimate was $1.062 million, and the bid from Arrow Road Construction came in at $1.042 million. So by the narrowest, bid prices didn't fluctuate a whole lot over that 5-week period. Okay, so this was bid in 3 parts. We had the overall base bid, we had bid alternate 1 and 2. 1 and 2, bid alternate 1 was Chickamauga, bid alternate 2 was Portland Road. So the village has the option to award those or not award those. That's how that was set up. The base bid gets a little bit more complicated. The base bid was 1 bid, and it was the overall bid between Long Grove, which was Oak Grove Drive, Oak Grove Circle, the maintenance work in Killdeer, and the maintenance work in Ela Township. You get the bid tabulation in the packet. Arrow Road Construction provided the lowest base bid by the narrowest of margins, $9,367 on a $1.6 million project. So it was very, very close, very competitive, which is also good, helps drive prices down. Now, the part that becomes a little bit more nuanced is, the overall project, 1.9 million or 1.6 million, and then, Long Grove doesn't pay for all of that, so you got to divide what's Long Grove's contract, okay? So you divide out, you get Arrow's numbers for all of that is 1.042 million. Geske and Sons was the second low bidder, and if you take out all of their numbers and add those together, it's 1.013 million, so it's $30,000, almost $30,000 less. However, as it was bid, the base bid has to be awarded in whole to the lowest responsive bidder unless either Long Grove, Killdeer, or Ela Township says that they're not low or they're not responsive. So, you know, what's that? Unless Long Grove or Killdeer or Ela says that Arrow Road Construction is not a responsive bidder. We know they were the lowest, but, you know,
So what we're saying though,
Yep.
basically, essentially, is that, you know, Geske, even though they were higher overall, if we went with Geske, we would save almost $30,000. $29,500, right? So, but because of how we bid it, we really can't select them because, you know, we've got to go with the lowest bidder overall, which was Arrow.
So,
Yeah.
So, you know, last month when we were talking, hey, what are the benefits for a combined road program? Now, I still believe that there is an economy of scale here for Long Grove going with Ela and Killdeer. At March 8th, the meeting, I said, you know, the prices could be down as much as 5%. Now, $30,000 on Long Grove's contract gives back 2.8% of that. So I still think Long Grove is ahead doing this. If Long Grove does not want to go with Arrow for that $30,000, it's rejecting the bids, it's rebidding for not only Long Grove, but Killdeer and Ela will also have to go through the rebidding process as well. So that's some of the risk that's...
Well, Geske has been doing such a great job for us, I don't know why we would want to go with them, but,
Is that sarcasm again?
yes,
Simple?
yeah.
It's kidding.
Sorry, yeah, it was sarcastic.
We have for many years talked about the benefit of joint bidding and joint work with the communities on this kind of a thing. I just think that becomes a tough issue that would take a long time to recapture if we.
And cost us time.
And cost us time if we go rogue.
It's kind of a rounding error.
Well, it's 2.8%, it's real money, but,
I agree, but on a project this size, you know, it's win some, you lose some.
And it's also, I think it sets a precedent, it's not just this project.
And it could ultimately come in less, depending upon conditions and so on and so forth, so we might get.
we may actually get the road paved this year, right? if
We might be
went-
able to claw something back.
No, we may actually get it paved this year if we went with them. Sorry.
No, that's an absolute.
Arrow Road Construction did Cuba Road in 2020. They did South Curry River Road last year. Performed wonderfully on both. Both of those are successfully completed projects, so for what that's worth.
Yeah.
So,
So any more discussion? So, I mean, is everyone okay with the complete, all three phases, if you will, the main and the two alternates?
We went there already when we did it.
Yeah. Okay, well, does somebody want to make a motion then? Okay, moved by trustee Michaud, seconded by trustee O'Connor. That would be a roll call, please.
Trustee Michaud. Aye. Trustee O'Connor.
So do I.
Trustee Barone.
There's only one.
Trustee Christmas.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Number 4.
And trustee Nucci.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. All right. Greg, you want to help me set this up? Because we've got consideration approval of the special event application for the Revive Handmade Market at Brothers Field, but there's some requirements that you're recommending that we approve it on?
What we have are the owners of the property at Brothers Field who are here tonight that are making their property available to this Revive Handmade Market. This handmade market isn't, they're pretty new. That's about the best way to describe it, and they have some they weren't familiar with some things related to sales tax and things of that nature, so we're kind of holding their hands on that part. There were a number of questions when I returned the application to the management team from Brothers Field that I needed answers to. They provided me with the answers. There were a couple of issues that remained open. This is going to be an event that could have potentially 75 vendors. Why is that a benchmark number? It's a space that when we usually do our large festivals, we have 60 to 80 spread throughout the downtown, and this will be a much more confined space. The host is asking for permission for 2 food trucks, which we know have to be, come to us not for a paid permit, but for the purpose of sales tax identification, so we can collect sales tax on it. They're gonna have music, but that music will only be during the event, ending at 3 o'clock with a break in between. It'll be live music on the south side of the field. So there is some concerns as to, with 75 vendors, are there gonna be pedestrian and vehicle traffic issues? We know that we have sheriff's deputies on duty when the festivals go. This is gonna have to be one of those wait and see. We don't know what kind of shoppers this is going to bring to the area because it's brand new. Are they going to need traffic control? And what's our parking situation going to be on a Sunday in April, close to, just a little bit before Mother's Day? Again, that's a wait and see. We've had contact with the coordinator for this Revive Market, asked her for sales tax information, which she has to provide to us so we can provide to IDOR. Then we give them their permits to go ahead and operate. Fire department still needs to inspect each one of their booths when they're ready to go, as does Lake County Health Department if they're selling food in those areas. I will be out on the day of the event, if the board approves this event, to inspect to make sure that licensed vendors are there, because it's important for us to make sure we capture that sales tax. And so I'm making the recommendation to the board that they approve this event contingent on required information from the vendors be provided to staff no later than April 20th. That allows us the time to do what we've got to do. Food truck vendors are approved by providing that they received a business license, and again, getting us the information we need for sales tax. We have a temporary stop work order over in Brothers Field. It's just about ready to get inspected from what I understand, and once that's done, that'll be lifted. It was some work that was done to the ground that, to the space over there that was not permitted. A permit wasn't applied for, so we're taking that action. And should there be any issue of major traffic congestion or public safety where we have to draw in Lake County Sheriff's Department, that would be absorbed by the event. And based on those contingencies being met, I would recommend that the board approve this application, again, based on contingencies being met.
I have a question about sales tax. And I've always been one pushing for getting something established. I'm thinking of 75 vendors. What kind of sales tax do you think one vendor is going to provide? And is it to the state and then break it out into the village? My purpose in asking is, if we're spending X amount of your time and all kinds of time in order to collect a pittance, maybe that's not economically.
Well, I understand that with a couple of questions. Number one, once they do business in the village, we're obligated under law to report it to IDOR.
And they're obligated.
And they're obligated to report it under state law. The second thing is, though, to your point, trustee, we looked at the cost of the individual licenses, and it's nominal, but the cost for that picks up our cost, because with a number of 75.
So it's a wash? Kind of?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty close. Yeah.
Okay. Notwithstanding state law, does it make sense?
Yeah, and to your point, and I know you've been an advocate for making sure we capture what we need to capture. I would say that absolutely this needs to be done. We need to move this forward as we move forward with Ryan Messner and the HDLGBA, and we've already had discussions on how to move that forward, and I know you've been involved with that, trustee. I absolutely think that it's necessary for us to do this.
Okay, but we go into it knowing we're not making money on it.
Well, we'll get a better feel after the first show.
Well, that's true too.
Because, what I looked at on their Facebook page as I was doing some investigation is some of it's not the highest end of what we would, think that are big dollar amounts, but there are some nice products out there that probably come with a good price tag on them.
Okay, are we going to find that all of them have a business license with this thing?
That, if they do not have a sales tax number for their business, they can use their social security number. So that's permissible. Because I think you're right. I think some of these people are going to be home craft artisans that may not necessarily be incorporated and end up being a sole proprietorship.
I think it's a great idea, and I think I've missed this kind of a business around, but I don't want to see us kill it before it gets started.
No, I understand that. What I find a little bit uncomfortable is this organizer's been doing this and has no concept of some of the things that when you come into a Long Grove and you're doing a Vintage Days Festival or something else.
Can I ask you a question, though? How do they do it in Arlington Heights, though?
That I can't answer.
Because that's the one that's on their website.
Yeah, I can't.
So how would Arlington Heights has got many more resources than we have.
That's if Arlington Heights is out there enforcing it. I mean, Arlington Heights doesn't necessarily need the sales tax as much as we depend on sales tax.
But on the other hand, if the logic for doing this is for sales tax, but we're kind of admitting we're not going to make a profit on it.
I don't know what we're not going to make a profit on the licenses, the business permits. What we get on sales tax, we won't know until that first event.
We're going to be charging them for a business
Now,
license?
$20.
Just like vendors.
Can I interject for just a second here? Because we have food trucks all the time. So when a food truck comes to our place, they're there for 3 hours, usually 5 to 8 on a Friday or Saturday night. They have to pay the Lake County Health Department $250 a year for 5 months for a seasonal permit. That right there cuts away. And when you get all done, in 3 hours, they maybe make $1,000. On that $1,000, there's $80 worth of sales tax, correct? Of that, Long Grove will give $10.
Whatever
You guys get 1%, right?
Right, 1%.
So that would be $10. Minimum wage is $12 an hour. How much are you guys paying people to actually do this? Because it doesn't make sense to me.
When they turn around and we get their sales tax number, that's their obligation to turn around and report it, not ours. We audit it afterwards.
Okay.
I would also say this, for us to turn around and tell businesses not to pay sales tax when we've got brick and mortar
No, they
businesses.
pay sales tax, but it might be where their base location is versus that 10% going to Long Grove.
No, it has to be where they turn around and do the sales transaction at.
Well, I understand that, but I also understand that most of these food trucks, they're not gonna actually come to Long Grove if it becomes prohibitive of them to actually, we gotta do all this extra reporting. It's not worth it. We'll go to Mundelein, we'll go to Buffalo Grove, we'll go to Arlington Heights, we'll go to all these other places. I say this because, as running a business in town, if all of a sudden, like, we can't have food trucks because of all this, I will tell you that the amount of sales tax you collect from me would be a lot more than that $10.
And I would say that I can't pick and choose which vendors we're gonna turn around and charge sales tax to and which ones we're not. And I also would make the argument, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would also make the argument that brick and mortar businesses in this town are not only paying sales tax, they're paying for water, they're paying property tax, not to us, but they're still paying property tax, certainly to the school districts. If $10 is too much for a business to pay, to have the privilege of doing the business.
Report on that $10, then it actually does.
But they're not doing a separate report for us. If they're not reporting to the state,
No, they report to the.
then it's no thing. We get
So-
it separated. We don't have to do anything with it except audit it.
So here's the thought, right? So, this is a new thing, right? We don't know how it's gonna work yet. I mean, can we try to collect the tax and see how it works out, and let's not,
I'd like to, I think as an event, I'd like to see it tried. I think that we have to hold the same things for the brick and mortar, for the established festivals, and for this. And it's the same reporting into the state. We're not adding stuff.
Yeah.
We're just saying you have to do the sales tax.
No, but I know when I filed my sales tax report, for me, it's one location. If these food trucks in a quarter are going around to, let's say, 12, 15 different locations, and they've got to actually then report the sales tax for each location, that's a lot of reporting for these people. At that point, it's like, okay, this town's not working anymore. It spreads very quickly in this industry that all these food trucks actually, they all work together. And they all sit there and say, no, Longboro's too hard to work with, avoid that.
There wouldn't be, I don't think it would be hard to work with. We're asking them to file taxes. If they were working in eight
Well, they
other,
file taxes.
if they were working in 8 other communities and not filing taxes to those individual communities, that's another issue in itself.
well, let's try to, so Mike, I appreciate the thoughts. We got a full agenda here tonight. Can we, like, move this thing forward? I mean, we're gonna try to get the tax. It may not work out.
I'm fine moving forward, but I definitely want to know if it costs us money to collect state taxes.
Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
Because if it is, then.
Are you okay with that? I mean, we're gonna try. We'll see how it works out.
Different question, a quick
Yeah,
question.
sure.
Under whose insurance is this being covered? I didn't see it.
It is under, it's under hers, Christina's, I can't remember her last name, but she provided the COI, I believe.
Claimer?
Clamor.
I didn't see the certificate of insurance here.
Looks like Claimer.
She did provide one.
Okay, good. And we're listed as additional insured, right?
Yes, because I had
Yeah.
asked her to change from the HDLGBA to us.
Okay, good.
Just a quick question regarding the food trucks, because we also talked about parking availability. I mean, I'm hoping this thing catches on. I think it's a great idea. It's a first go-round, whatever. It's not about sales tax. I just think it's a great idea. So regarding, with the food trucks, where will they park? How many spaces will they take up?
That's a good question. They're actually on our lot. We've got a little alleyway between Weathersfield and the dance studio.
Yes.
And so we kind of park them right in there, so they're out of the way.
Okay. Just curious. Okay.
Any other questions? Make a motion? Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this special event contingent on the items that, village manager Jackson has already, discussed.
Second.
Moved by trustee Kritzmeyer,
Second.
seconded by trustee O'Reilly. You were beat.
Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Micho. Aye. Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
And trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, so, Greg, you're gonna help me set the next one up too, or somebody is. This is now the consideration and approval of community grant application with Lake County Symphony Orchestra requesting $10,000.
Last year, the LCSO performed here, I think it was on the 4th of July or around the 4th of July holiday. They performed over at the brewery. The village board at that time awarded a $10,000 community grant. For the purposes of that, the grant, the awarding, I think, was really done, at least from the feedback I hear, was because we were coming out of COVID. This was a good opportunity for us to turn around and kind of jumpstart what was happening in the village. So the application by, I think it was Mr. Ron Arden, was presented to us from the LCSO. I reviewed it in conjunction with the sitting resolution and the program pertaining to issuance of the community grants. And it's based on that information as well as, the information that was in the application, as well as the community grant policy and some additional information, that I'll discuss in a minute, but, restrictions per the, village community grant policy includes restrictions on providing general operating support or event sponsorships. A April 4th concert should be construed as an event sponsorship. In addition, the project budget certainly lays out expenses for general operating support. The program itself that was adopted by the board in 2018 prohibits the use of money for operating expense such as wages and others. The $10,000 in funding represents 17% of the organization's operating revenue based on the per audited provided financial statements that were to us, presented to us. I would argue based on that, it looks like we're subsidizing the LCSO. The general operating support prohibition, staff's recommending not approving this grant request. There's a couple of other things. The location of this event being on an individual property makes it look like we're subsidizing entertainment for a specific business. That's something that could potentially create precedence. And then the $10,000 in the past, I understand, was for a free concert for people who wanted to come and attend. I found on the website for the LCSO that they're charging $20 a person to come to this event. And the event...
Really?
Yes, I downloaded it.
They're gonna charge $20 a person.
So
if it's not subsidized, they charge for it.
they're already paid, they've got to add here to turn around and buy tickets at $20.
Just for the May 7th or the?
July 4th.
July 4th?
Yeah, the July
Because
4th.
I've already talked around about that they would not be able to charge for that. We're also doing another one on September 11th, that one would be charged for.
So my recommendation, just based on the information, the policy, the resolution, the consideration that we could have another business turn around and say, can we have $10,000, $5,000, whatever it may be, to have an event on our property, which I wouldn't think is outside the realm of possibility. I'm a patron of the arts. I'm sure this organization is a top-notch organization. I've heard nothing but positive things on their performance. I just don't think it's appropriate for us to take a third of our community grant budget for next year and apply it to this type of event. And that's my recommendation. I defer to the board.
I just have a little bit of data here.
Yep, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, they provided their list of revenues and expenses for the prior year. So I broke out the revenues and expenses for the July 3rd concert. Their net cost for this was $9,137. Approximately 1/3 of that went to Ron Arden, just so you know.
Several of you weren't here when we established this little fund. And if my memory serves me correctly, it was more for local people, local organizations to get up and running and doing something. And for instance, if we could get Stevenson Orchestra to come, I'd give them 15, because it's our kids and that kind of thing. But that was the intent. Am I not correct?
I think we were just I think part of it was the Long Grove Arts Council we were having,
You wanted to give them that money.
no, sarcasm here. No, the Long Grove Arts Council was coming, and then that started the conversation of like, why them and why not others? And so then we created this and said, let us create a community grant for community building and invite people we don't even know to ask. So we would absolutely to open up that possibility beyond the people who are kind of like the squeaky wheels already.
Yeah.
Other comments?
I've got no further comment. I'll move to deny this petition.
Okay, that's your comment. Any other thoughts?
I was at the event last year. I mean, it drew a lot of people on a super hot day. It was very patriotic to me.
George was there too.
The gestalt of it was very in keeping with Long Grove. That said, after I saw the financials afterwards, I was very uncomfortable with the 10,000. You know, that felt too high afterwards, once we saw the actual net things. I know that wasn't all of the cost, that there were some other donated things, but I was uncomfortable with that number on there. I hadn't read closely on the thing on events, and so that, you know, that was an omission last year. But I will say, I think this kind of an experience event, maybe we want to look at the wording on the events, this kind of an experience, I thought was very much in keeping with Long Row. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't fit into the confines of what we already discussed.
Are you saying you support this, or?
I don't support $10,000.
Okay.
And I understand that we've got a ordinance that actually might kick this out, and that would be difficult.
Second, my motion, I'll take a vote.
Let me just hear from the other side here.
I was there as well. I liked it. I am uncomfortable with the financials. The other thing, I think it was great for the brewery. I didn't know that a lot of the other businesses profited from it. I would be more open to something with less money in a more public venue where a lot of different businesses could have tents. So it really, you know, fosters, you know, business for all, the entire downtown. I would have liked to see a parade. I would have liked to see more out of it. So I do like the idea of a 4th of July event. I think that's something that Long Row should build on, but I can't support it.
Rita?
I agree with Dan and Jenny, in the interest of time.
Okay. All right. So I don't think there's any support. Are you making a motion to deny it, or are you making?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Motion to deny, seconded by Trustee O'Reilly. It was moved by Chris.
So the motion is to deny, and we vote yes. Does that mean yes, we're denying it, or yes, we're accepting it?
We're denying it.
We're denying it.
Denying it.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, denying it. Take a roll call.
First, right?
Trustee Borowski?
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly?
Aye.
Trustee Chris Meyer?
Aye.
Denisha?
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor?
Shouldn't these be nays?
No, the motion,
In the interest of time, say yes.
Yes, I am denying it.
all right, sorry, Mike.
It's coming.
All right,
The
thanks.
parade we talked about, that's not gonna happen now, too.
Guess I'm not gonna get to ride in that parade, huh?
We're doing a parade?
So that's part of what we were planning on doing, is actually putting together, we were trying to do a parade last year, we just couldn't pull together time. This year, we were gonna actually have a parade and have it end there.
So,
Who's gonna be in the parade?
We were gonna invite all the businesses, and, we have a few tractors in town, like, 20 of them.
so if I understand this correctly, we're not saying they can't have a concert. We didn't say they could or couldn't, we're just saying we're not paying for it. So maybe they could still have a concert and charge admission.
And that's fine.
Separate
Last year,
question.
we had somewhere we estimate between 500 and 700 people show up for this. And if we have nothing for them to come and see at the end, having a parade go through town and nothing to end with.
No, I'm saying potentially,
Okay,
separate question.
nothing
The orchestra could
except
come and
for-
charge admission.
Right, except for something that they gotta be paying admission for.
May I suggest that it's a great idea. It was a lot of fun, it was nice and hot. I was drinking beer, listening to music, yeah.
Rita was drinking beer, that's an announcement there.
No, but, I mean, it was perfect weather for 4th of July, and it was very enjoyable. Why don't we collaborate on this for Labor Day or July 4th of 2023, so that for you to say there was gonna be a parade, that's the first I heard. And it sounds like,
No, you and I talked about that.
No, I knew that, he was talking about a parade, I heard that before,
it
yeah.
sounds like very good intentions. And community building and
So
celebrating.
the thing is, running my own business, okay, in town, I try not to rely on the village, the HDL, GPA, any of that stuff. I kind of go my own route and everything. in efforts to move, because the Lake County Symphony Orchestra does have issues, okay? And we've actually taken my manager, Josh Hardnick, and he is now the president of the board of the Lake County Symphony Orchestra. We've also have recently signed the Great Lakes Bank to actually, they're donating tens of thousands of dollars to this organization as well. Again, thank you for all saying nay, but, you know, this is one of those things where if you guys don't want to be a part of it, that's fine. We're okay with that, but don't ask us for anything down the road, because we will continue to go along.
Well, that sounds more like a
Well,
precedent.
No, it's not a threat. You guys just already, like, poo-pooed this tonight, and I'm like, okay, well, that's great.
This is the first.
We are working our butts off over there. You know, if you also looked on their website, then did you see the May 7th fundraiser that we're having at the brewery, where we're actually spending 12 hours with 12 different bands coming in and playing with the orchestra to actually raise money for the orchestra?
You know, I'm
I'm asking
really,
Kent this, because Kent said he looked at the website and saw these things.
I didn't say that.
Oh, wait, who was it?
It was me.
Oh, did you see this as well?
I looked for the July 4th because that was what I was told that the tickets were being sold, so that's what I looked for.
Okay, so we are also doing a fundraiser where, you know, we're spending our own money, you know, a couple $1,000s on PR for this. We've got the radio stations involved. But we're doing this fundraiser where we're hoping to raise a lot of money on May 7th.
Mike, I don't think, and I'll speak I can't speak for the board, nor would I ever at liberty, but I will speak from a public administration standpoint. For me to make a recommendation of the board to take the taxpayers' money, whether that's sales tax or whatever, user fees, whatever the case may be, to fund an event that is, number one, outside the resolution and the program that was initially adopted, at least in my interpretation of it, and to turn around and ask for it to be used to support an individual business, no matter how well-intentioned or altruistic, an individual business. And let me be clear, and I'll say this without talking about any particulars. I received calls from other businesses about this, and which solidified where I thought in my recommendation to the board. I appreciate Great Lakes Credit Union being involved and the banks being involved, but they're private entities that have a little more latitude than we do. Right. So.
Bill,
Yes.
you got a hand from Vic.
Oh, Vic, yeah, go ahead, Vic. Oh, no, that's my hand. You're not. I just moved my mouth.
That's one way to stop Vic.
That's my hand, I'm putting it right at him, okay? Oh,
I'll speak for myself, if I had any knowledge of what you just told us, you know, my response would have been, you know, this is fabulous, you know, why don't we collaborate on these things? I understand your individual spirit and your business, and I get it, I understand completely. And you've done a really, enjoy a lot of success, okay? Whether it's in spite of or because of, but maybe it could be better, I don't know. But from where I sit, it would be a really, really nice coming together of whoever wants to join in to help, to be part of, not to mastermind, not to, you know, blah, blah, blah. Does that?
No, and like I said, I totally get that, but our business is a for-profit business, okay? The Lake County Symphony Orchestra, even though they're a not-for-profit organization, they need funds to be able to survive.
Sure.
And so we're gonna go where the money is. So where if the Village of Long Grove, if this goes to ordinance, if this, you know, I know the other concerts that we used to do down here on the lawns, you know, we spent a lot of money on that. There was some stuff going on there that I've heard about from behind the scenes, so I thought we were actually doing something better, something that was much more on the up and up. But, again, you guys decide where you want to spend your money, and you're more than welcome to. We're also, as we get organizations that come in that want to work with us, we're going to focus on them and not on those who don't work with us.
I understand.
You know,
oh, yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
if I could if I had known more, I read the sheet. I knew it was from this organization. I did not know about a parade. I did not know anything. And had
You guys are on the same board. And I talked to Bill a lot because Bill's comes over.
Yeah, but I haven't talked to you about it in a while, so so refresh my memory there, right? I mean, yeah.
But still, I didn't know, for whatever reason, I didn't know. Had I known, I would have looked at this very differently and looked at how to do it rather than no. I would still like to look at how can we do this? Because you mentioned private property. We used to fund this horrible group of.
Don't go there, Bobby. Don't go there, please. Just, another organization, yes.
They were events and they were on private property.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it also, I'm getting this from Sarah, they're saying the same thing in different words. You know, it's like, we wanna figure this out. Right now, we cannot, given where we are.
No,
But we would like to not
and I
drop
understand
it.
that.
We don't wanna drop it.
But we need to keep moving forward, and we
Got
can't
it.
wait for you guys for next year.
Okay, but let me ask, knowing that we were putting money into private property, was a local group, so to speak, that used private property. It was an event. They were scheduled, they were free.
And we had no say in the timing or the process.
No. And so,
You're talking about what was on Counter Green, which is a private property.
that's what I just
Yeah,
said.
no, you didn't say the property, but I'm gonna just say, it was Counter Green, it's private property,
Right.
okay?
And to your point, it benefited businesses right there. So, location matters, but it was private property, it was an event. And we funded them for, what, 3 years, 4 years? Who's the toner?
Arts and Music Council, I'll just say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of this, with the discussion on it wasn't that it was where that private property was, that it was sitting in somebody's, where they almost had exclusivity to, collateral business, so.
What they had,
Yeah,
All
I don't know.
right, so here's something. So it got denied tonight. Bobby,
there is reconsideration.
correct. Yeah, right, tonight, or do you wanna?
If there's sentiment for it, I would vote to reconsider.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table. Vic, can we do that? Vic's raising her hand.
Yes, we can. Again, I'm not sure where the sentiment lies. If the sentiment is for something different, we may want to ask them to come back at the next meeting with a modified proposal that aligns a little better with our grant program. I think Greg pointed out several items in their, in their cost sheet that seem to be outside of what our grant program says. But others of those costs, I think, maybe with a little better explanation, would fit more neatly in it. So you can certainly do a motion to reconsider. Since all of you voted against it, any of you can make that motion. And then that would just put it back on the table as if it hadn't been acted upon.
Do you wanna,
Say that, I didn't hear what the last part was. What do you
If you want to consider the request for $10,000, then a motion to reconsider would be appropriate. It would need a motion, a second, and then it has to be supported by an affirmative vote of the board. And then it's basically back on the agenda as if nothing happened.
Then we could take.
Okay, I've made a motion to reconsider.
okay, so hold on a second, just, wait a minute. So what happens, everyone has to unanimously say aye, and then it's back on the table, but we don't have to take action on it tonight?
We only need 4 to reconsider.
And then what happens? Then it's on the agenda for the
And
next
then-
meeting?
Then it's back on your agenda tonight and you can continue it or you can act on it, your pleasure.
Or can it go to the next meeting?
Yes, you could.
You can continue it to the next meeting, yes.
We need to take that action tonight in order to continue it to the next meeting.
Yes.
You're not gonna, you're reconsidering.
We're reconsidering it, no,
Reconsidering it
and then we
for-
can continue,
for
okay,
our
so,
next meeting.
all right, so moved by trustee O'Reilly, yeah, timeout?
If we're going to reconsider this, what are the sticking points? What is it, give me the list.
The grant needs to be amended to reflect the language that whatever discussions we have with the host would change the grant, proposal, or the, requirements and proposals. So if we decided we wanted to move forward with it in order, as it is, we would have to change the language on the existing, policy.
I think the sticking points are an event, and subsidizing operating costs. I've already said I'm uncomfortable with $10,000 given that scale, so that would be.
Yeah, and
And
mine is.
That would be event thing, I think, if that becomes.
Okay, and my concerns are, it appears that, I did see it on the website also, and it does appear that you're hosting the events. And that's fine, it's your website or whatever. But if we, the 10,000 that we donate is not reflected or known about, so it's not a village event, it's a sole proprietor. I would like other businesses to know about it and benefit from, if we're gonna put money in it. And I too am uncomfortable in grand for, what was it, an hour? You know, if it's, whatever. So the cost, the perception that it's subsidizing a sole proprietorship, and not involving other businesses. I mean, heck, we're almost paying for, you know, the Fountain Square, so why don't we have it there?
So again, so, all right, so you have a motion to reconsider it, from trustee O'Reilly, is there a second? Is that a yes?
No, I'm just, okay.
Doesn't,
So we're reconsidering it just as it stands.
no, we can actually, we're gonna put it back on there, and then I think we're gonna
And work some things out.
work some things out.
But do we have
The-
details
the-
enough to work some things out tonight? I mean, first I heard of a parade. Who's in the parade? What are we doing? What's the timing? Who's involved? I mean, we haven't heard any of those details. Are we gonna be able to?
We're not gonna be able to make that decision tonight.
Right, so
But-
let
but-
this thing
but-
go, let the petitioner come back, work collaboratively.
But Vic, procedurally, what's the right
Yeah.
thing to do here?
If the motion that's on the table is seconded, there will be a vote. If the vote is to reconsider, then it's basically back as it was, as a request for $10,000. The board can continue that for the next meeting, and the board can take it up at that time and modify, or I should say, grant something other than what was specifically requested. And it can also include conditions. So as trustee Borowski was just saying, maybe it's conditioned on the parade, maybe it's conditioned on only a smaller size of grant. And maybe those are things that can be ironed out a little more between tonight and the next meeting, so that there's a clearer understanding on the part of everybody as to what is this grant going to deliver, if you will, for the village.
I think we should reconsider it. We should get a second if somebody wants to do that. Okay, thank you. Seconded by trustee Kritzmeyer. And then, once we get done with that, then we can, do we have to take a vote to continue it, or?
We have to take a vote to reconsider it.
We're first going to take the vote to reconsider, but
And
we have
then,
to take a
there
vote
will
to
be a
consider.
second vote to table it to the next meeting.
Okay, all right. So it's roll call vote.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer. Aye. Trustee Borowski.
No.
Trustee Micho. Trustee O'Connor. Sure.
That's a yes.
I think that was sarcastic. No, it's not. Just, it comes back in the same form.
I would then make a motion to table.
Oh, we didn't hear from
Oh, I
trustee.
thought you said.
I was just breathing, that's all. Yes.
All right, so motion carried. Now there's this, another
A motion
motion.
to table.
Motion to table, seconded by
Second.
trustee Kritzmeyer. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer. Aye. Trustee Borowski.
So what's gonna be different between now and then? I mean, Mike, you getting together with staff and giving us a comprehensive plan, or what's the point?
So at this point, I will have, so you gotta remember, not my staff, it's Lake County Symphony Orchestra, their board. So I will actually have them.
But they're not doing the parade either, or somebody
The
else.
parade would actually probably be done by the Historic Downtown Business Association.
They don't have to do the parade, they have to promise the parade. But no, that's the grant requester has to promise the parade, they have to get it done, they don't have to do it.
Chris, what's your answer?
I'm not sure what the question was, so I'll say no.
Your question.
I'll say no.
All right, no,
Question.
To table.
To table.
To table.
Next
Yeah.
meeting.
Should we,
To our next meeting.
no, we,
We just said
no, reconsider.
we're gonna reconsider, now the next motion is to table it till the next
Reconsider
meeting.
is the mulligan, it's not a reschedule.
Yes?
I would ask that the board consider rescheduling it for 2 meetings from now to allow adequate time. For both- for
So
both
again, we
parties.
don't have to decide that tonight, right?
Well, she'd have to amend her motion.
No, we don't. The motion was generally to table. And in the formation of an agenda, which is ultimately the prerogative of the village president, we can either have it at the next meeting or the following meeting. I think we see where we are in terms of trying to clarify what the scope of everything in the grant and the associated activities would be.
Thank you, Vic.
That's what we do with any agenda.
Right.
It hasn't got a-
So, we have 2 yes votes, 1 no,
Aye.
3 yes votes.
Trustee O'Connor?
All right, motion carried, thank you. All right,
So it's gonna behoove you to more
I will-
quickly get this
I will-
put together.
Talk to Josh tonight, and we'll,
okay, so now we have,
Parade we've had in Long Grove had three vehicles in it, maybe 3 spectators, so. Just,
that?
the last parade we've had in Long Grove, we had 3 vehicles in it, 1 was a tractor, and maybe 3 to 5 spectators.
I will bring my little,
So, there you go.
Also, there was a building over there that used to be the vacant building.
Mike, I know.
That now also has, you know, anywhere between 500 to 1,000 people showing up on Saturday night.
Thank you.
Okay, you work on getting more than one tractor. Because I think every trustee and the understand should get on a tractor.
He's got 3, Kentucky's got 2, I got 1 here.
Okay, then I got
okay,
relatives. I
so
got relatives.
we still got a packed agenda. Let's keep going,
Yeah.
all right?
Get to that tonight.
So the consideration of approval and ordinance amending the fiscal year 21-22 adopted general infrastructure, M&T and TIF budgets, adopted fiscal year 21-22 budget,
Thank you.
2020, whatever it is, 05. Good night, see you, Mike.
Bill, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the amendment item and just.
Is that in the PowerPoint?
It's just not, no, this is the amendment portion, so this is prior to that, so it's, let me look at what.
Is it in the,
The current fiscal year budget that
Hold on.
comes in 2.5 weeks.
let me just do one thing. All right, so you want me to pull up something on the Google Drive?
So, yes, it is 14A.
You want me to pull up 14? Board packets? No, I'm good. Just wait. I'm being smart here. I've been doing this too long to.
Yes, yes, yes.
I know, sourness tonight.
Okay, so it's, which one is it? I'm sorry?
14A.
14A.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, you want me to pull up the memo?
Yeah, all of the memo, but then just go.
No, Jeff, you're more than welcome to go, right? Everyone okay with Jeff going?
Denise, is the short answer.
Pages 4 and 5 might be the most illustrative.
The short answer on the amendment is anything that already had a label in the old budget doesn't really need anything. What this is for is to add some new line items that better differentiate and describe. So for instance, the ARPA funds were in infrastructure, we're giving them their own funds, you know, okay? We had sales tax coming back from the
Good night, Jeff.
district that we erroneously put all in the general fund, it really needs to go to 3 different places. That's what these amendments are doing. It's basically 4 categories of unbudgeted, which really unbudgeted is really was budgeted, exactly, really small. Most of it was budgeted in the prior year, and it just didn't happen in that year. So we've got the unbudgeted, we have transfers, which are just simple, like, oh, this should, we're moving this from here. We've got the new accounts, which are very few of, and then we just have increased transparency, like we talked about today, where it's just essentially, say in the MST funds, we're just designating the three forms of the MST funds and also the Rebuild Illinois. We're
Plus
separating things out. So, yeah,
statutorily it has.
statutorily, exactly,
So what do you want me to share here?
well, really, I'm
Not to
not,
make a motion to move
Yeah.
it's good housekeeping and better transparency.
yep.
But you wanted me to show something, so that's why I'm curious.
No, I mean, really, what Ann just described is, that's that's why the detail that's in the memo is, like Rita and I spoke today, I just kind of walked through everything. If you have any questions, call me, and I can walk you through any portion of but I agree, Ann.
It's good housekeeping and better transparency.
Yep.
That's really what it is.
And this is a living document, so changes happen with, a document that we're understanding things better, you're digging in, you're like, oh, this should, let's have better transparency, that's what this.
Yeah, the unbudgeted stuff is quite small.
Yeah, really, just moving things into other places.
So Bobby, you look like you had a question.
No, I was going to sum it up, we changed things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost meaningless.
Right,
Yeah, I moved that we approve an ordinance amending the fiscal year 21-22 adopted general infrastructure and the team.
Okay, moved by trustee Kritzmeyer, seconded by trustee O'Reilly. Roll call, please.
Trustee Chris Meyer, aye. Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Micho. Aye. Trustee O'Connor.
It was an aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now we're getting really punchy. We need to have a,
Ann said, let me take.
What?
thank you, I'm gonna pass it down, but, let there be lemons.
I didn't grab that.
Yeah, we'll put it up. So, but hold on a second. Vic, do I need to open up a public hearing? Okay, so, do I need a motion to open up a public hearing?
No, you can simply declare it.
Okay, I'm gonna declare that we are having the public hearing, on the fiscal year 2022-23 general infrastructure and other funds budgets. And I'm going to show a presentation that was done by, Denise, staff, Ann, right? And here it is, and I'm going to, let me just do this first. Can you see my screen? All right, I'm sharing. Where do you want me to go, please?
So, I will be brief on this slide presentation because we've been discussing the budget for some time. Let me begin by thanking trustee Kritzmeyer and Denise and Debbie Smith from Cyber for their assistance and background institutional knowledge for the first budget that I put before the board. Let me hit some key points. We have a limited or small moderate government, which we're pretty proud of. We're able to deliver a number of services without having to levy a property tax and keeping our government size small. We have 5 employees and are still able to meet a great number of the needs of the public. We make sure that we do whatever we can to minimize our expenses and long-term liabilities. You'll see on this first slide our mission statement for administration, and I think it just bears some mentioning. Long Grove's municipal government is to deliver public goods and services efficiently, effectively, and equitably, never compromising the public trust or the belief that government should serve a higher purpose. Through collaborative governance, stakeholder engagement, and the highest levels of transparency, this unit of government will pursue excellence over mediocrity in all areas of public policy and administration. It's important for us to have a mission statement so that everything we do as staff, we can align objectives and goals to. The general fund, on the next slide, is the chief operating fund for the village and most of the day-to-day current operations. I want to just briefly touch on the operating reserves. Lawn Grove is in an exceptional position based on their operating reserves, and that's all attributed to the strong stewardship of the village board and the demands that we make sure that we have enough money should something unexpected happen. As a result, this past fiscal year, the board has ensured that we've been over 100% on our operating reserve. Next slide has us looking at the general fund's revenue history and projections. We're projecting for this fiscal year revenues of $3.4 million. That's down from the previous year. As we look at where we're seeing the largest general fund's revenues being expended, and this is 93% of the total general fund revenues, I shouldn't say expended, brought in, it's $1.2 million estimated in sales tax, $937 in income tax, $204 in transfer and excess sales tax, $616,000 in fees, permits, and licenses, and $204,000 in other taxes. Again, we are able to deliver a full slate of services. As we look at this chart, it tells us that 38% of our revenues come from sales tax, with 30% from income tax. We'll reflect a little increase on that based on population growth attributed to the last census, that our numbers increase.
Greg, I take exception to this chart on the word full slate of services. We really don't.
Well, it's the definition from public administration. You provide full slate even if you're using external sources. The only thing we don't provide is fire service, because it's a protection district, and park district recreation services, because it's a separate body. We do provide law enforcement, though we don't have our own police department. We do provide public works, though we don't have our own public works.
Thank you for that clarification.
I mean,
So Chris, I already did that. I did the same thing when I read it. It was my comment to,
it's just, yeah.
and then I think as former HOA president, and all the stuff that we did, right? You know.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and in fact, one of the things we have to acknowledge are this unique model that we have here, that the HOAs make a meaningful contribution to the quality of life in the individual areas in the community, without a doubt. Lawn Grove is one out of 42 municipalities out of 1,296 in the state that does not have a property tax. So we're like at the 3% threshold. The municipal budget on the next slide, it's a balanced operating budget. We're expecting a surplus at the end of the year in the general fund of $295,599. The largest expenditure we have is for the sheriff's department, which is $708,000, wages and benefits, which is typical for most operating budgets for government, $589,000. Again, keeping in mind we're a small, limited government. Snow removal, which is part of our public works, at $419, legal $217, and $155 in planning and zoning and legal both being contractual services. Again, 27% as we break those numbers down for Lake County Sheriff, wages and benefits at 23%. The fiscal year 22-23 projected expenditures are be at their lowest level out of all but one of the past 4 fiscal years. It'll be down 6.1% from fiscal year 18-19, 28.8% from 19-20.
That worked out well.
A modest increase in 2021, and another decrease to 7.3%. In the last fiscal year, we did some pretty strong infrastructure work. Stemple parking lot was resurfaced. $200,000 of that came from a state grant. The North Kruger Road repaving, that was about almost nearly $1 million in federal money that came in to support that program. And the RPC pathway, which I have in the budget, the number escapes me, but we had also an IDNR grant.
$105,000, yeah.
IDNR grant for that. We're looking at the projects coming up. These are the ones that were discussed tonight and approved by the board as part of our repaving program. Our water operation fund, we still see some deficits there. It's an enterprise fund. It's used to account for the operation and maintenance and improvement of the village's water delivery system, and provides portable water for the portion of village residents and businesses. The activities are entirely or predominantly self-supported by user charges. That's what classifies it as an enterprise fund. And based on an enterprise fund, this should be a self-sustaining fund or a business and operation, very much like you would compare it to a private sector entity, that the money that they make should support the day-to-day operations of that business. So we look at the final slide. We're looking at the revenue of all funds, expenditures of all funds, and net revenues and expenditures. Out of all the funds, including the enterprise fund, the SSAs, the TIF, we're looking at a end-of-year surplus of net positive of $872.02. Not $872.
Good job, man.
So, and I will tell you that Ann looked at these numbers, Trustee Kritzmeyer looked at these numbers, Denise looked at these numbers, I looked at them, and then we looked at them again, and then we looked at them again, and then we looked at them again. In many areas, we were conservative in our revenue expectations and rounded up for our expenditures, knowing that there is a potential there for us to even have greater savings as long as we live within the means of the budget that the board finally approves.
We still have one of the things we've been watching all year was the local use tax, which we split out. We didn't know where that was going. It's come in under, that revenue has come in under budget. It's only up full year because it comes in 3 months late. So, there is some uncertainty. So I support being conservative on the revenues at this point. I think that's only upside. If inflation takes off, I don't know, do we get, we're on a percentage sales tax of the Sunset continue to attract the same people and it goes up, or do people shop elsewhere and therefore the demand goes down and then the overall base goes down?
I think to piggyback off of what Trustee Kritzmeyer said, if there's one thing COVID taught us, is I know myself and my colleagues in other communities were waiting for the worst. We thought it was going to be disastrous for revenues. And I shared with a couple of trustees I had conversations with that many of the municipalities ended up in a better position than they anticipated when everything was said and done. This is one of those similar situations with inflation at 7.9 on a federal level. If we're going to turn around and, depending on what the monitoring fiscal policy at the federal level ends up being, determining where we're going to go. So it's going to be a closely monitored budget, just to make sure we can respond in a timely basis to anything that needs to be addressed.
Hey, Greg, with the state budget that was approved very early Saturday morning, they're talking about for 1 year, there will be no tax on groceries, but somehow there'll be another fund that will be able to recover the money. So, Ann and I went back and forth going like, how does that work, right? So has there been any clarity yet how that's going to work? Because Sunset Foods there's significant dollars to us coming from there, right?
Yeah, we're calling that in the office the trust me legislation. So
those are my words, right? Anytime somebody says trust me, I get worried.
Yeah, so it's, there is that delay that comes in from the Department of Revenue as they report sales tax remittance and other, that we're going to have to just figure out how to monitor. I'm reaching out to staff in relationships in Springfield, and we've got a call in to Representative Bose to kind of, off of that email that you shared this weekend, to kind of turn around and say, okay, where's our verification process on this? Where do we go? Is it going to be a separate fund from the regular fund to segregate those by local, so we know what's being remitted to the local jurisdictions? So it's still a wait and see, and I think because it happened on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, early in the morning, but whatever, yeah.
Well, I would say we also, because some of those sales tax revenues are pledged to outside debt, we have all kinds of reasons to be able to demand that too.
But the thing is so if they don't charge it anymore, how do we get it back?
Well, it's kind of like they gave our money away.
Well,
Yeah.
there's the state and then there's ours. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it kind of gave ours.
Yeah, okay, how do they do it? That's my question.
Well, let's find out,
Yeah.
because there's state tax on groceries and our tax.
Right,
That's right.
So,
yeah,
Oh,
okay.
they didn't touch ours?
We don't know, we don't know.
We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Thank God for election years.
Yeah.
Thank God for what?
Election years.
No, I mean, it's,
All this money all of a sudden appears when they're running.
I mean, 1 year, I mean, it'll be nice for, you know, everyone that they don't have to pay the grocery tax. The problem is, you know, what does that mean to us, right? And how are we gonna get the money back if they're gonna give it to us back somehow,
And here's
right?
one thing, I know that on Tuesday night at 9 PM, there isn't anything we can do.
I know. So, okay, so comments on the budget. This is the public hearing, there's,
So
yeah,
here's one thing I'd like to say too, in my
Yeah.
thing behind, you know, with all of this, one of the things I really was trying to, we have small staff, we rely on our staff to deliver the full slate of services or get them delivered. To, you know, where we can, make sure that there's extra training, that we can use technology so that we don't have to add bodies. So that between training and tech, which is not a ginormous, it's by no means a big part of that, but that was one of the things I was pushing on, like, push a little more, so that we can be more efficient and effective with our small staff. So it's just a philosophical thing, I'd like that out there in the record.
Well, in the cross training.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
so this is a public hearing, right? So anyone from the public can comment?
for sure.
Can we make them comment?
We can. Chiki, you want to comment?
Well, I wrote him a note today. I was very impressed with the report. It was very well written and it was very good. You approve and keep both of blah blah.
It is so good to see you.
Yes, it is good to see you all.
That's good.
Boring to be home.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know, is this better?
I won't tell Brian you said that.
Oh, no.
We are secret.
Is there any other public comment?
I'm not a resident.
You can still comment, you're here.
Trustee.
Sorry we're late, we went to the Vernon Township
George Yeager,
annual
former
meeting
trustee.
tonight. Every year there is a special meeting, and Rose and I were the only two residents that attended, unfortunately, so sad. So thank you for coming tonight, as residents of Long Grove, and we're here to support you, and I was amazed to hear that the reserve is 100%. Because I don't recall that when I was a trustee, that's just amazing.
This is the best we've seen in many years.
That's amazing.
And we have street lights.
So, yeah, congratulations, John, well done.
Thank you.
I just want to say that the presentation is just fabulous. You all of you did such a good job.
And well written.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, it's really nice.
A lot of work.
Couple of nitpick questions, if I could. There was like a $51,000 expense planned for like IT consulting services that seemed to be, I don't know if it's increasing or not, but it was $50,000 for IT consulting.
New server. This server's gone, and 3 out of the 5 desktops.
Yeah, there are the towers, which we're trying to kind of look at that, using tower docking stations, how HDS is giving us quotes. But yeah, we have several things that are happening kind of all at the time, so.
And we're also making sure that, keeping some aside for, network security.
Thank you for that. Next nitpick question pertains to salaries, wages and salaries. I saw it was a pretty significant increase budgeted. What I don't know in my head is like what we ended up, compared to last year, what we ended up spending for like, you know, Dave's departure, if that was included in this past year, if that was 2 years ago, I don't remember that. But what's the plan for that? Or just because it's in the budget, is that an automatic increase, or are we gonna have a chance to kind of review and discuss that before we start making those?
I have not, I put 3.5% based on the inflation where other, municipalities were going and put that in there. I did not know that there was necessarily a review process on it, as much as from what I saw, at least from what I saw, the indication was that the rates was discussed at the budget meeting, if it was either a go or a no-go, if it was gonna be individuals versus across the board. New territory for me.
Well, I'll put my Mike Sarlito hat on for a moment. I think I need to. Hey, he was my running mate a long time ago, remember? I guess I'm a little bit concerned about the organization of the staff. The job descriptions, which we had asked for years ago and continue to ask for, and also finding the characteristics of the individuals to fill those roles. So before, I'd like to say 3.5% or whatever the number is across the board, I'd like to know like what those job descriptions are, what the characteristics are that we're looking for in people to fill those roles or grow in those roles is maybe a better word. And I'd just like to have that conversation on a formal level, and if that's a workshop before we do salary increases, I think that'd be appropriate. That's one thing we've lacked over the years, Greg, is that transparency to see what the employee, training plans are, what their improvement plans are, what the metrics are, and what their goals are, which is something we've asked Dave to do a long time ago, and I'm kind of hoping that we can bring it to the next level in terms of improving our employee relations with the board and make understanding of the board.
I would say this, that what you're requesting is something where I've already started working on, because I absolutely firmly believe in, clean job descriptions. We're working on those now. I've got 2 completed out of the 5, making sure that they're all comprehensive. Potential, based on what was discussed in the workshop, performance measures based on what the board saw as their goals, and those are gonna change year to year based on where the priorities are. Performance measures, twice a year performance evaluations, one to say, this is what's working, this isn't what's working, and then at the end of the year to recognize. And then a potential increase system that would reflect that based on how they score, based on the metrics. Most of it, I would rather have quantitative than qualitative, to take that element out of there. That is all planned to be complete in the first quarter of the new fiscal year. That was my objective. I set that up so it would be ready to go, it'd be ready to present to the board, complementing our employee manual as well. So, the request for this is not something that I wasn't even thinking.
Right, I understand that.
We're ready, I'm ready. I need that so I can develop our staff. And then I also need that so that the board can make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And also incorporated in that, I put a training aspect, training for sustainability and what you do every day, and then development aspect for where you're gonna go on the next level up. So, yeah, that's a top hot issue, post-budget.
Okay, post-budget, then I'm still concerned about saying, hey, 3.5% raises, but oh, by the way, we think that individual's the wrong person for that particular spot.
Yeah, I cannot do anything but defer that to the budget board, because I can't speak to what past practices were, not fully having an understanding of how it worked.
Well, that's why you're here, because we needed an improvement.
We didn't either.
Okay, so it's, again, I put 3.5 in there, again, looking at past budgets and looking at a consistency of raises every fiscal year, not knowing that there wasn't maybe a discussion or the job descriptions or everything else to gauge what was appropriate for an individual employee. So I would defer to the board on what's the approach. I think it would be inappropriate for me to turn around and say we have to do anything any specific way.
I mean, I'm in support of 3.5% overall, because I think that's really where I think that, I'm actually a big fan of change usually, or I'm very comfortable with change, put it that way, but we don't need change right now. I think we need some retention, and I think we want to make sure that we've got that ability, okay? That doesn't mean that we're required to, but it gives us that ability, and I think 3.5% is going to be on the low side right now of where the markets are in a lot of places. Does that mean individuals have to be in that? No, but I would support this budget at that level, and then, given what Greg has just said, I welcome and look forward to all of that package too. And
I agree.
Okay.
Well, I think you gotta plug a number in, and based on projected inflation, 3.5 is conservative.
But I think the principle of the budget is just because it's there doesn't mean that's made a decision.
Correct, right.
So,
So that's my question. That's how I started.
Yeah, I knew that was
That was my
your
question.
point
That's how we
was,
got there.
and I'm with you, just because it's there doesn't mean it's okay. Yeah, we have to
No,
discuss that
just
at a
looking,
different
trying to
time.
include everyone.
Yeah, we just have a gentleman standing.
No, well, we're gonna ask him to speak in a second. We, any more public comment? How about that?
Public comment. I was gonna follow up on what,
Chris?
Chris had mentioned before, so the $589,000, does that include any of the departure compensation for the previous village manager?
No.
So it's only the five, that's it. Does that include all benefits?
Yeah.
Medical?
Out to separate line.
Yeah, there are separate lines in the budget for, FICA, Medicare, healthcare
Is that
insurance.
included in the 589?
No,
No. And
So
retirement.
589 is salary,
correct.
and then on top of that, there is medical, profit sharing, FICA, on top of that 589?
Pension, healthcare insurance, FICA, yeah.
So in my opinion, we break this out in our business, I think that 589 is a misnomer. I think this board should consider whatever those benefits are, that should be part of that breakout. And because the FICA, the medical, the 401K is all the cost of the employees of the
Considering it all, it's just in different line items.
It's all in the same row
And
though.
it's-
But where is it? It's, yeah, it's,
It's the last page.
oh, last page?
My point is that your employees, there's only 5 of them, it should be one number, it's $750,000, that's what the people should show. Just like the fire or the police department is the largest one, it's one number.
Yeah, it is.
But that doesn't include, we don't cover all the other
Hold on a
benefits.
second, this is 584,000. What are you talking about?
That number we pay.
That's all, it's 584.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
That is the number.
We calculated the benefits into the wages and benefits.
It's everything.
So
Yeah.
589 is everything.
It's actually
Yeah,
five,
salary's 448.
it's 584.
And the
829.
village manager that departed, that has nothing to do with.
Correct,
that.
yeah.
That's another number altogether, which is fine, it's part of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then the last comment, I would say this, has nothing to do with the budget, in my opinion.
Sometimes you're not even saying.
Okay.
Hold time out, we got a resident speaking.
In my opinion, this is the beginning of inflation. The company that we represent, we had 3 increases in wages in the last year and a half to retain people and to attract people. 3 wages, 3 increases, and they were substantial. I've never seen anything like it in 45 years. My personal opinion, I could be 100% wrong, I believe this is the beginning of inflation. I think we're just seeing the beginning of it. And I think for this board to have reserves, fantastic, job well done, 100%. And I also agree to stay conservative, and is the way to do it, build money. And, for our company, just like this board is doing, we're building cash, because who knows what the future holds. Last thing is, from a resident that's been here for many years, the village has done tremendous change. All the work that you have put in for the years, for the sidewalks and the lighting and the stoplights, it really shows. Everyone's proud of it. People are coming downtown. I would only encourage this board to attract other businesses where the people that have so much expendable money would spend it more down here on a Starbucks or something. I'm not even a coffee drinker, but something that people would go to. We only go to Enzo, Lucia's, we go to, there's too many foo-foo shops. So if you could build where the people here in Long Grove would be spending more of their money here instead of us going to Arlington Heights or Lake Forest or Lake Bluff or Buffalo Grove. There's just not enough for us to spend our money on except for a couple things. So job well done, fantastic, keep up the good work, I really mean that.
Charlie, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I need to close the public hearing now? Vic?
You close it too, yeah.
It says yes.
So I can close it and then we can still talk about it, right, Vic? You're not?
Right, if there's no, I'm sorry, if there's no public.
More
then
public
we can-
comment out there? Yeah, on the Zoom link that wants to make a public comment? If not, I'm gonna, going once, going twice. I'm gonna close the public meeting. And now it's just a conversation amongst the board.
I will say, I was just really happy Greg put this narrative together. We've had meetings since before Christmas, for sure. I'm meeting a lot of this up. It's the most thorough I've seen in 5 years. We've gone through, last year Denise and I Band-Aid and bubble gum, the things, that I think brought us forward from the year before. I think this is another leap forward. And I have annoyed them by trying to make sure that things cross tie.
Can I say thank you, and thank you, and can I move to approve as presented?
Second.
Okay, so the budget was moved, by trustee Browski, seconded by trustee Micho, and that's a roll call.
Trustee Borowski.
Yes.
Trustee Micho.
Aye.
Trustee Chris Meyer. Aye. Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Snucci.
Aye.
And thank you.
Okay, motion carried. Now, let me just make sure, yep, all right, so, we're running late. I'm gonna skip my report. I'll go, trustee Browski, do you have a report?
SWACO meeting is Thursday. I'll have more to report next meeting.
Trustee Kritzmeyer?
No, thank you for posting your prior stuff on the shared drive.
Oh, you're welcome, yeah. Trustee Micho?
The only thing I would say is we're looking for an EDC chair.
Yep.
And that's it. And,
Yeah, and I've taken my time on that too, just a little bit. I'm not rushing to do it, so, just,
yeah, he stepped down last meeting.
I sent it out to everyone. Did you not?
I actually got that email.
You got that email?
When I confirmed it, I got it.
Yeah, so, it's effective April 15th, though. April 15th is when
But that was
his last meeting was this week, yeah, yeah. We'll be looking for a new chair.
So if,
Do you want a general invitation for the EDC committee in the newsletter?
We could do that. I mean,
Not the chair, just general.
General, yeah. I was taking our time a little bit, because there could be somebody on there that we, just.
Well, no, I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
That's why I say general.
General, yeah.
Okay.
We have plenty of people in this village.
Correct, yeah. So I was not rushing. I was taking my time, so.
you want to be on the EDC?
Just retired as president of the association of condominiums, so I'm.
So you have time.
You can help bring in some
Okay.
business downtown.
So, thank you for that report. End of report?
End of report.
Okay, trustee O'Connor?
We are working, Melinda Bush, Senator Bush asked for, kind of like a mission statement. I'm not saying the right words, it's late at night, forgive me.
No worries.
Principles, and our group is working on those, and we probably will be the only, group involved in this that comes through. Pardon me. So, that's what our meeting was.
Oh, is that the meeting that you were trying to schedule? Okay, got it.
No, our, that's,
Okay,
that's, they want them to sit down.
okay.
Matthew is really sick.
Oh, wow, that's not good.
Yeah, he's got COVID.
Oh, wow. Anything else? Trustee O'Reilly?
Just a bit of gossip, and I've heard that buses are being scheduled to come to downtown Long Grove.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
To come and see the Sock Monkey Museum.
Really?
All right.
Yay!
Yes. Is that not fabulous? Who's,
I want to see the.
I don't know, whoever carries the buses.
Can they make sure that they come on Wednesday, the ice cream place is open?
Well, I think that kind of coordination is gonna take place. I've asked Mike Oakham to open the museum at like 5 to 7, so that businesses and we can go and see it, so that we can start talking about it. I talk about it all the time, but I've never been there.
Yeah, I haven't either.
We've
I know.
never quite,
They have to go, socks, we can all get matching socks that say Sock Monkey Museum of Long Grove.
well, there you go.
Christmas gift for everybody.
So who knew that this is big stuff?
And you think it's bad to promote an individual sole proprietor? I'm joking.
It's between us girls.
Joking.
Well, and guys.
I went term.
I went to the Sock Monkey Museum before Christmas. It's cute. They didn't have the museum part of it, and I was the museum.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Thank you for
It's a big
sharing
deal
that.
for Long Grove.
Anything else?
No.
Trustee Tanucci?
I'll have one next week. or
All right.
time.
Village manager?
Absolutely not.
Okay, approval of the bill list from the March 22nd bill list.
Second.
Moved by trustee Kritzmeyer, seconded by,
I don't wanna hold this up, but just something to look at, not to stop anything tonight. The Coffin Senior Center, we clarified what that is.
there's a hand up here.
Typically, they charge $275 per plow. On March the 10th, they charge $2,575,
Ooh,
almost 10 times as much.
is that a typo?
I don't know, but it's 10 times more than it normally is.
Where are you at? Oh, you're talking about in the warrant itself?
Yeah,
I'll take a look.
so just look.
Don't know if it may have been, accumulated billing too.
Salt.
I'll take a look.
Okay, just make sure it's correct, make sure it's not a mistake. All right,
Oh, hold on a second. Mr. Crowley, you raised your hand?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I think it was Trustee O'Connor gave a presentation about the IECA with the Illinois Energy Conservation Authority and some of the funding mechanisms they provide. They were actually a client of mine, and so it's kind of interesting how I heard that because I deal with them every day or bi-weekly. And so I was wondering if I could provide an introduction that you can maybe talk with them directly to get the information that you need for purposes of answering some of your questions, because some of the things I heard weren't 100% accurate. I want to make sure you have everything you have or everything you need on your end.
Sure, I think.
You want to reach out directly? Do you,
Yeah, do you have my contact in?
Yeah, I sent you an email like 2 weeks ago. I just never heard anything back. So that's why I wanted to follow up on here.
do you have my email too? You want to send it to me as well?
Yeah, I'll send it to you as well.
Okay, because,
Thanks.
I don't know why we're having problems with emails, so.
All the information I had came from the webinar I attended that was run by, the fellow who runs it.
But he's gonna make us some introductions,
Right.
Manager Jackson, et cetera, so,
Okay, cool.
yeah, let's do that, thank you. Okay, so I lost track of who made the motion.
Bobby and I second.
Okay, so this was moved by, trustee O'Reilly, seconded by trustee Micho. Roll call, please.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Micho.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Kavitsky.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
Can I ask a fast question?
Fast question.
Why are we paying for Three Lakes, culvert cleanouts?
Yeah, I wish Jeff was here because he'd have it at the top of his head. We had, it was us.
I can.
It was on our side, I thought, but that thing is really full, by the way.
Yeah,
I read the.
yeah, but he's got the specific on what was clogged, so.
I see, okay.
We did some improvements there several years ago because we realized, like, if we didn't do that, the downstream damage to us was worse. I remember that conversation.
Yeah.
So the motion was carried. Now we have the meeting minutes, but there was an introduction that was incorrect on the meeting. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Jeff was at the meeting and he's not mentioned there.
Okay, so there's something else. Jeff was not, in the meeting minutes?
As being, those who were present.
Those who were present, okay. So we need to add, amend it with Jeff. And then also this, statement at the beginning. This was an in-person meeting. It was not made, so,
Do we have to note anything though about the hybrid and that the
Yeah.
declaration is still in?
Well, I'd go back to the first meeting in July as a reference point.
I thought we
Because
did.
that was my first hybrid meeting.
I did not make this statement, so I did not say that.
And we,
Yeah.
we didn't need to make the statement. Keep in mind, once we have a quorum physically present, others who are attending electronically, other elected members of the board who are attending electronically have to be voted in and have to do it based on one of the recognized exceptions, which includes a work demand or an illness or a family emergency kind of thing. So I
Yep, so
agree.
we-
I don't believe that would have been read in that context of that last meeting.
Yeah.
March 22nd, you're talking?
Yeah, this is the March 22nd meeting minutes. So this statement at the beginning,
Strike it.
it's got to be stricken.
Okay.
Because I did not, and don't say that the village president read the statement that he didn't read. So that's what we have to correct. And that's, I guess that's what I'm saying. I didn't say this. Well, because, Sherry corrected it because I told her to, so if you didn't, if you didn't read it before, then it's corrected. So I just want to make sure that we need to add Jeff to that, right? So, send it. So with that, as amended,
Move to approve as amended.
Okay,
Are we talking about the meeting minutes?
yes,
Okay, I have one more correction.
okay, one more correction.
So, item number 6, second to last paragraph, it's talking about the no turn on red signs and how you can't really see them. The second line of the second to last paragraph says westbound on RPC. That should be eastbound on RPC. Because westbound, there are 2 signs. I verified that on the way here tonight.
But I think
Yeah,
the point is you can't see them, right?
No, eastbound, you can't see, it is eastbound.
When you're heading east.
Yeah, the word eastbound should be there instead of
Southbound
westbound.
and eastbound.
Where is it, which paragraph is it?
So, item 7, second to
Oh,
last
7.
paragraph, second line, should be eastbound on RPC. I can show you, I can come over there and show you.
Right here,
Yeah, okay.
it's westbound, eastbound, okay.
Should read eastbound.
Okay, so, we have a motion by trustee Borowski to approve the meeting minutes as amended, and seconded by, trustee O'Connor. Roll call, please.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Quickmeyer. Aye. Trustee Micho.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Panucci.
Aye.
Okay.
Correction.
With that concept in mind, are we going to continue to have hybrid meetings?
I was planning on it until,
Well, I don't care, but I'm just wondering if we should put it in the newsletter periodically so people know that they can do it that way. So
Right.
if we're going to, then let's face it.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, it's tight in here. It was tight in here today. I felt a little bit awkward.
Isn't that funny?
If one of us gets sick with anything, we're all gonna get sick with something, and then we're all down for 5 days or whatever, right?
That's why I'm wearing a mask.
well, no, and that's why we need, more village hall space, right? COVID kind of drove it, so,
Air is really
yes.
stagnant.
That's why we have.
Well, we had the windows open.
Oh, we forgot about the fan.
Okay, so I know that there was, I know that there was a notion that we were thinking about trying to go into executive session tonight, but we're way out of time. Are you okay with, if we take a pass?
We're gonna have to have we have to have an executive session next time to discuss investment.
Do we want to try to do that tonight, or?
Okay, we can defer that. So
Okay.
we don't, yeah. We're
Okay,
gonna have a long executive session next time.
Okay.
We discuss investments and personnel.
okay. All right, then, if we're okay with adjourning, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, one thing, and maybe I just missed it, but in the public comment, did we make reference to the email that we received regarding the stop signs from Mr. Goldberg? Or was that raised in the 6 o'clock meeting?
We didn't specifically reference his email, but we did reference that in the meeting, that we did get public comment and we posted them.
Okay, I believe that our protocol says that we would identify that in the meeting. So if we did it at the other meeting, we're fine. I just didn't hear it at this meeting.
Well, we didn't call out his specific email, but we did reference,
We didn't say the author, we said that we received the email and stuff.
Okay,
we received a bunch of emails.
Yeah,
Okay, we're good.
we got a number of them.
okay, we're good.
But I guess
just
we're
wanted to make
stating
sure.
it again, that you're watching this recording at home afterwards, that we did post all public comments on our website.
I was just gonna say, I thought being here at 6 o'clock was easy. And if we're gonna talk investment, why don't we start at 6 o'clock and do it for an hour?
Some of us have real jobs. I had to leave.
Oh, well, I pretend.
I mean, I gotta work early, I got a boss report too, you know,
Well, can everyone show next meeting at 6 o'clock?
I can do next time.
I can make it at 6, not 6:08. Sorry about today.
If you can, Chris Kinney or,
I don't know, I'd have.
well, let us know then, let us know, okay.
I just think at this hour, talking numbers is not a good idea.
Right.
And I think 6 o'clock is better. Or if you want to start at 7, but that screws up the public.
So would we do executive session first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm good on.
Yeah, talk numbers while we're fresh, that makes sense.
Exactly.
I have the Lake Forest School District. that's all, I have to make discussions first.
Move to adjourn?
Okay, moved by trustee Borowski, seconded by trustee Micho. Roll call, please.
Trustee Borowski?
Aye.
Trustee Micho?
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor?
Aye.
Trustee Ryan? Trustee Kuzima?
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Nice seeing ya.
Thank you.
I mean,